Live. YouTube, what's going on? Happy
Hello,
Friday.
YouTube. How's it going?
What's going on? Hope everyone is good and safe.
Hope our American friends are enjoying the start of their long weekend.
Yeah, isn't this weird? This is the long weekend that it's not synced up with Canada.
No, it's always not synced up.
I thought most of them were.
I feel like it's always we're one weekend ahead.
Oh yeah?
I feel like it's
You
always
would
that
know
way.
more
It's
than
like
me.
May
Okay.
2-4,
Yeah.
and then we're the May 2-4 weekend, which is 1 week before the Memorial Day.
Okay.
We have the Canada Day, and then they have the Independence Day the following weekend. I feel like it's always
Oh,
like,
you're right. July
it's
4th.
always-
Well, it's not
yeah.
the following because they're July 4th.
It's like only
And
4
we're
days apart, but it's
first.
always our weekend is celebrated
then-
at a separate time, right?
Because they're probably
It's
the 4th.
interesting, yeah. And I
Depends
feel
when
like
it falls.
we're always different, so it's always the following weekend that they're
Yeah, that's
doing
true.
stuff.
And I also thought it was weird because everyone, like, even though I've been here 10 years, I still don't really understand the public holidays. So it's like they call it May 2-4. Why is it? Because it's 24th of May-ish?
I think Victoria's birthday is May 24th. Queen
Queen
Victoria.
Victoria. So it's Victoria Day is the holiday, which
Yeah.
was last Monday.
Yeah.
So, like, I never think, because no one ever calls it that. And I see this thing like Justin Trudeau talking to Queen Elizabeth and so I'm like, why?
You're like, what's happening?
Wait,
You're like,
what's
yeah.
it got to do with her?
You
This
guys
is-
should have it too, because you're Australian and we have the same queen.
Yeah,
so I'm very
but-
surprised that you don't have.
I'll ask our
long
guest because
weekend.
he might know more
We'll
because I
ask
forget
our,
everything.
Our Aussie guest today.
Yes.
And see if he has some information.
We have something
on that.
special for y'all tonight, so I know we have a few Aussies tuning in typically, so hopefully they'll make it because I know they'll appreciate this more than
It's
usual.
one of our favorite Aussie.
Oh, I'm going to be bold. This is absolutely my favorite.
I was going to say it was
Australian
my
brewery.
favorite too, but I thought
Yeah.
I didn't know if I was insulting anyone else.
I feel
couldn't
like
think
it's not
fast
an
enough to
insult,
think
it's
if
just-
I'm
Yeah.
missing someone.
And you haven't been there for 2 years, so.
Yeah, I haven't been there in a while too.
Yeah.
So it's my favorite because I also haven't like.
Also true. Well, I
there's
was there
no
last year, it's still my
competition in
fave. Hey, Brad Chastity, oh no, shooter, he said, it's because you drink a 2-4.
Brad, that's definitely not why. That's
You're
awful.
more
But technically,
Canadian.
yeah, you're so Canadian,
Brad
Brad.
is the most Canadian Australian of all time. All right, I think we should just get this podcast going, eh?
I love it. Yeah, I'm just
Feeling
posting to
good?
Twitter, so if you
Oh,
guys
do we
see
wait a
me
second,
moving,
or-
oh no, you
Get it
know,
going?
invite the guest. In,
Okay.
you know, I'm
All
ready
right.
to go.
Oh, and I got this here in case you want to do the stories like we typically do.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful.
Whenever you're ready.
Thank you so much, sir.
All right, you good?
Yeah.
What's good, y'all? This is C-Certified Brewhead, and welcome to episode 8 of BAOS Podcast, Quarantine Edition of our Adjunct series. Can't believe it's 8 episodes.
I
so
know.
far. That
Which means we've been quarantined for no less than 2 months.
And we
but
skipped
took
2
a-
weeks, the first 2
yeah.
weeks.
So it's been 10 weeks we've been quarantined
wild.
minimum. Crazy.
This evening I'm joined, as always, by my partner and everything, Tiffany Alexis.
Your
Hey, man.
illustrious guest.
Illustrious. Well,
co-host.
you're
Your
not co-host
illustrious
now.
co-host.
I love it now. People always, like, when they're emailing BOS, they're like, hey, see and Tiffany, straight away.
Hello, guys.
So it's going to be
Nice
weird
to
to
be
not
here.
have
Happy
you
to be here.
when we start getting back to normal.
Well, when we get back to normal, I need to be behind the camera. So
That's true.
Yeah.
So it's going to be strange. We have to give him a touch of this. So this evening, guys, the last 7 episodes we did a few ourselves, and the last 4 we've had Skype guests. All of those have been my closest friends in beer media. This evening, I'm kicking something off. I'm like, this is something that I kind of have always been sort of asked to do, but never really wanted to do it because our entire point is to go to the brewery and talk to the people behind it and drink the beers with them and discuss it. So I figured this is an excuse to talk to everyone because we don't have any physical rules holding us back anymore. So I hit up my good friend Chris Farmer at Mr. Banks in Melbourne. It is Saturday morning for him, so he has a child, so he's up anyway. If it was me, I'd begrudgingly get my ass up. So let's get right into it, mate. Let me unmute him. Chris, how you doing, brother?
Hey guys, how are we?
Hey.
Good, mate. Loving it, crushing the coffee.
Yeah, I'm on the water now.
On the
Just
water?
getting a little bit of branding in there.
Oh, look at that.
Ooh,
Oh,
love
that's
that.
nice.
Ooh,
I like
love
that. That's like a
Drink
camping
breaks,
mug.
it's sick.
It's exactly. Yeah, we got these made just before Easter because everyone goes camping at Easter, and then the whole world got shut down and no one's allowed to go
No,
camping. So
camping.
we got a few mugs.
Hey, they'll pick back up. You guys are
Yeah.
opening back up anyway. But people go camping in winter, or is that kind of like not a thing?
The real campers go camping in winter.
Right, all the soft like tourist campers.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
about that life.
Yeah, but Easter's the big
Easter's the
camping
one.
time, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way, I don't think you'd be stuck with them for too long.
Nah.
Mate, great to see you, man. Thanks for jumping on. I know you're a busy dude, and it's, what is it, 14 hours difference?
Yeah, it's 10,
20?
20
Yeah.
in the morning.
So that's not so bad. You're up anyway. You're you know, I mean, you're not on the malt bags anymore, but you're up early anyway, right?
Yeah. I'm an
Yeah.
early riser with, the 2 kids. They get us up early enough. So,
Jeez.
but no, I'm feeling fresh. I've already been out for a run this morning, and I'm
Jeez.
good.
Not messing around.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah.
Wow.
How is everything there? First of all, because I know that with like Canada got hit. No, not too bad. We handled it pretty well, but you guys did pretty damn good, eh?
Yeah, it's obviously the hospitality side of things has taken the biggest hit probably out of everyone so far.
Okay.
Obviously bars and restaurants being shut. But apart from that, I mean, I personally don't go out a lot anyway, so not a lot's changed personally for me.
Right.
So like my idea of a good night is at home having a couple of beers and some really nice food or something
Right.
anyway. So we've just been doing that a lot. But
A lot. Exclusively.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. And I think everyone has too, because I mean,
No other
takeaway
choice.
sales of beer and stuff like that is just going kind of bananas. So
Right.
but yeah, where I think Australia and New Zealand were definitely a lot luckier than some of the other countries out there that have been affected. So
For sure. I know New Zealand killed it. Who was I talking to? I was talking to my mate in Melbourne the other day, and he said, tell me if this is correct, but I think Scott Morrison, the Prime Minister of Australia, copied the New Zealand sort of rollout the way they did it, essentially. I think they were kind of messing around at first, and then they realized the Kiwis had it right, and they were like, oh, let's just follow them. Is that accurate?
yeah, they did. I think New Zealand, I'm not 100%, but they had like way bigger lockdowns than what we
Oh,
did.
yeah.
So
No,
they literally shut the country down pretty much.
It's probably arguably easier because they've got 4 milli in this much smaller space.
Oh gosh, that's nothing.
Right?
Just
The
no
whole
people.
country.
That's no.
So I
people,
mean,
it's
like,
amazing.
or they're just super smart and they were like, we are not having this, and they just shut it all down, and people listened, obviously, which I think is the main difference between New Zealand and maybe even places like I was just telling you before that like Montreal and Quebec are the hardest hit in Canada because people. I'm looking out, it's 8:23, and there's the park across the street is rammed. Like it's a beautiful day.
Yeah.
It's 28 degrees today, which
Yeah,
is
it's
wild
gorgeous.
for us.
Yeah.
But like.
Yeah.
So, like, Australia's been pretty well behaved, I guess, as far as, like, Aussies weren't, like, protesting or any of that stuff so much.
Not really.
No?
No, everyone's been pretty good. I think everyone just went, shit, we really need to do this. But yeah, I mean, no one's done it as well as New Zealand, definitely. That Prime Minister, she kills it.
Mate.
She's so good.
We should get around us all. It'd be so much
Yeah,
easier.
seriously.
Okay, dope. I definitely want to hear, we might as well just crack a beer this end, either way.
Sure.
I found one Australian beer here recently, which I'm going to have after this, and I didn't want to have it straight away because it's absolutely a style that you and I both are not. You know the brewery, you know the beer, but I paid an exorbitant amount of money to buy it here, and it's a style that we're not really into, so I didn't want to because it doesn't really go with the Mr. Banks branding. But we got sent this the other day. I'll put up to the camera here from Muskoka. They're doing one for Pride, so Pride in Toronto is like a really really big event.
Yeah.
So they did I guess I hope it's haze, 3.8 nano IPA they're calling it. Do you want yours or?
Yes, please.
Yeah, there you
No,
Nice.
see.
go. So we'll give that a crack. Might as well give these guys. Muskoka are pretty dope. I guess you wouldn't know any of these guys, but let's see real quick. Okay, that looks hazy enough. I'm not mad. I kind of felt like it would be. Well, like, who wants a clear IPA, Chris?
Yeah,
Nobody.
that's exactly right.
Nobody.
No one.
Nobody, not a single person.
I don't even know. Do people still make them?
Yes, they do.
Right.
Do you know what surprised
Crazy
me?
to me.
The altogether. Oh, sorry, glass would help.
Thank you.
The altogether's. I had one that was the West Coast IPA from Quebec, and I've seen other people they've just kind of gone, like I would say like 95% of them were all haze, and then some people just chose to rock with a West Coast style. So those are clear, but otherwise, like, it doesn't happen too often.
Yeah.
They're the last 5 West Coast IPAs.
in the world. But to be fair, we're in. I was telling you, I was texting you while I was there. We're in San Francisco in December, and we drank plenty from. You went? Did you go to Russian River?
Yeah.
Which one did you go to? Santa Rosa or Windsor? Oh, geez.
Santa Rosa.
Santa Rosa. Okay.
To the new one. Yeah.
Windsor.
Oh, Windsor.
That's
sorry.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
This is really
Nice.
nice, actually. This
Nice
is like
and light.
super fruity, super
Yeah.
light. I love it. That's great. Nice.
3.8.
3.8. Yeah, pretty crushed. Not really my thing, to be honest, but
It feels responsible.
I felt
Yeah.
ease into the night,
Makes sense because you'd be at Pride joining a parade drinking all day. Or
Yeah,
hanging
you
out
could just
drinking.
crush them. That's actually really smart. These
But
guys
now there's no Pride,
the game.
unfortunately, I imagine. So.
No, I think they cancelled all
Yeah, it had to be
events
cancelled,
all
yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah, drinking plenty from the source was pretty fire. But that's a whole other. I would drink that more often if I had access to it. And I bet you would too, even though you and I had got a real similar palate. You reckon you would?
I see how good that beer is, and I see what that beer did for, American craft beer and stuff like that. But I don't know. I think I enjoyed the chili cheese fries more that I had there than the piney. Yeah,
we had some pretty good fries there too.
Yeah. I respect that.
Yeah. The beer was great. The place was incredible. All the beer was amazing, obviously. But yeah, it's just not us really.
No,
or me. I'm just not massive on sort of West Coast IPAs.
I totally
especially
get it.
Ones that has that bigger malt character than what I'd normally have in the West Coast, personally.
No, I respect that. I'm trying to push myself to like them a bit more. I'd still like, clearly it's haze all day, but when they're like that, I'm like, all right, this is nice for a change. I guess I wouldn't drink them all the time, but it's just like if you can get something that fire. Otherwise, I'm not really that interested. If it's not that good, then why kind of bother? I guess.
Yeah, I agree.
So let's talk about how's all of this affected your brewery? So you've been open now for I want to say it's like 3 years. Is that right?
4. The brewery's we've been brewing there for 4 years.
But then open.
The venue's open in some form or another for 3.
For 3, okay, maybe that's what I was thinking of. So, of course, with all of this, like you were saying, people aren't allowed to come into the breweries. They can't. Thank you. They can't sit. Same as here, right? I think, but it was a slower lockdown because I think I saw all of your posts. We'd already been locked down here, and then you were sort of. I think you guys were maybe 2 weeks behind because you were sort of like doing the social distance tap room. Is that right? Like, is that how it rolled out?
Yeah. So we had to obviously it was one person every 4 square meters was allowed, so that killed most people's capacity down. It didn't change ours a lot because you've seen the venue's quite wide and open, so we didn't actually have to do that much, but that's then good. Just a few other measures, and then what did we go to? I think from that there might have been another round of restrictions, but we didn't go down to them. We pretty much shut then. And just went, it's not going to be able to be, we're not going to be able to do it. And we've just been basically takeaway sales ever since then, just cans. And we haven't filled a single keg for like 2 months. Just everything's going into cans. So
how's that? Is that better or worse for you?
I think it's going to change the way we personally operate, like on the other side of this.
Yeah.
We were more a package brand anyway than kegs. But I think going forward, we'll put definitely more into cans and less into kegs. Maybe sort of kegs to order. And that might be maybe like almost a little bit strategic as well, that, who knows if there's going to be a
bar scene after this.
Yeah. And also what am I trying to say? What is a vaccine? A vaccine
of course.
Like if it just goes up and down and things, we end up getting locked back down again. Like I don't want kegs sitting around.
Particularly if what you do.
Yeah, it was a nightmare. Like having to, we put beer back into tank and then canned it and then,
you could do that. Okay.
Yeah. It's not it. The problem with like obviously doing it with the hazy beers and stuff like that, it takes away a bit of the character and flavour. But it was either we do that or
drain it,
dump it. Yeah. So we did drain some just because we were like, it's by the end of even in 2 months' time, this is just going to be cooked. So yeah.
Damn, that's great. Do you have a crowler machine?
Nah.
No. Would you get one? For I guess now is no point, but
we did consider getting one when all this started to happening, and I don't know. I don't know that crowlers are as big over here as they are over there. Like I think this has sort of made it be a little bit more, a lot more bars are buying crowlers and filling them and stuff like that.
Okay.
Interesting.
And there's some really good crowlers and there's some really shit crowlers, and like the good ones are expensive, like machines.
Right, they're like 10K or something, aren't they?
Yeah. So and the crap ones can be pretty ordinary. So the last thing we need is someone pouring out an oxidized beer because
That's interesting that the bars even want crowlers. I find that interesting because
they're emptying all their keg stock.
Oh, so now they're one. Oh, okay. Now
Just so they could
okay.
do. So they
That
got to
makes
go
sense,
and
okay.
drop 10K to get a good one, just so they don't lose a few K. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, that's a lot of them have just been buying the cheap ones just to get them by.
and
Mm.
okay, and you got
Which,
48 hours to drink it.
Yeah,
Just
like drink
drink
it
it.
ASAP.
Don't sit on it, type of thing.
yeah, and like there's good ways you can do it. Obviously, you like pre-purge the can and do all that properly and do all that stuff. But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. I think growlers are still not even that much of a thing here. Like people would just prefer to get a can. There's a
Yeah.
very
Interesting.
select few people in Australia that even know about growlers. Or probably now more they do because I mean, when all this started happening, CUB started buying up all the growlers off
Really?
everyone and giving them to bars. Yeah,
And
yeah.
and were they branded, like CB branded?
Nah, nah,
So there's
just
empty,
blank.
just so they could, as like a charitable thing, to be like, hey, here's a way you can sell your stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know whether they were selling them to people, but they just like I know a lot of the suppliers that we were getting them off were getting hit up for growlers from like the likes of CUB, just trying to I think just to try and get through all their product that was sitting at bars, because I mean,
Otherwise,
the amount of kegs. Yeah.
would they do a buyback? I guess, or like because they're big enough.
Mhm.
I heard that people were doing that.
We did that with a few venues, obviously, but most venues that actually initially hit us up, because obviously when everything first happened, everyone just panicked.
Yeah, of course.
So we just got hit hard by like everyone contacting us, emails and phone, going, "Hey, we've got these kegs, we need to get them back." And then we sort of, because we had so much happening at the time, there was some that we didn't get to, and we sort of let it settle down for a little bit. And then a week later, a lot of people started going, "Oh, actually, we can, like, we're allowed to fill these and sell the products." So we didn't end up having to take back anywhere near as many, which was really
That's good.
So,
Yeah, that's great.
yeah.
I hope they. Do you reckon they'll and this kind of like I guess goes for everywhere, but I guess you can only speak to Australia. Do you think these laws that they brought in that are, like clearly before bars were not allowed to sell their beers in a growler? Do you reckon they'll keep those measures like moving forward because it just makes sense? It gives bars another way to make money.
I hope so,
Yeah.
but I really hope so. But I mean, the government, they don't make a lot of sense most of the time, so I doubt it.
That's a good
It's
point.
interesting because in the end, I think it's going to take a really long time for people to get comfortable in the normal setting of like ever just going to a bar and hanging out or going to a brewery or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, what
Yeah.
would be the point where you're like, seems like you're making a good amount of money now. Let's take back this thing that benefits you. Like that would be
Yeah.
so
Exactly.
ridiculous to even think about putting that restriction back in place. So I hope. And perhaps that comes with having the bodies that protect brewers or protect certain entities to kind of fight and be like, this is already pushed. Like, once you set a precedent, the whole point is that it's set and then things move forward with that set and you continue on. Right?
Yeah.
That should be the whole
Yeah.
thing. So I hope that in the end, it's like if it benefits people and they can make more money from it and you recognize it, then continue on with it.
Yeah.
You know? That would be my
I-
hope.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And like one of the big things here with like restaurants that were allowed to sell alcohol is, they were able to do takeaway sales.
Like ours.
I hope.
Yeah.
I hope they're all able to do that, because I mean, like, even my sister, she owns a restaurant, and her being able to do that on top of the takeaway food, like that's one of the things that sort of kept them afloat. So
Yeah.
Were
You-
they?
Yeah.
Remember we
Go on.
prioritized
Yes.
this restaurant the other day? We were ordering from like Uber Eats. We're like, okay, we should try to still like buy local stuff, like buy from local restaurants.
As opposed to like chains.
As opposed to any chains, like, because that's like done for completely. But we were looking at weighing up like two Mexican places, I think it was, and then one like had a bottle of wine, and I was like, sold. Like, I'm just gonna buy immediately because of that. Because I was like, oh, if you're selling the whole package,
Most of
complete
them,
package
yeah.
for people
Yeah.
now,
Quebec sucks for that. But the like in the States, they take it to the next level. I don't know if they could do that there, but like my boy was posting, he was in Vermont, he was telling me like, and posting on Instagram, because he had like takeaway packs with like burgers and fries and stuff, and then these two like plastic cups with the lid on it. I'm like, what's that? He's like, oh, it's a hurricane, like a
Oh yeah, you told me that. Rob.
cocktail. I was like,
Yeah,
fuck,
yeah.
that's amazing. You can
That's
get like
hilarious.
full pours of a beer
Yeah.
in a cup.
Yeah.
You could just pull up and pick that up, and you're good to go. Like,
Yeah.
that's super dope. I'm cool with that, but I would imagine though, because people who don't know, like you, Chris, Mr. Banks, do predominantly hop forward hazy beers that have a lifespan and have to be kind of taken care of in a certain way. Would this be accurate saying that you might be a little whilst it's cool that the bars can sell it that way, would you be concerned that like now there's a third party selling your beer and chucking it in a growler or whatever to somebody who takes it home and sits on it for 2 weeks and then they open it up and it's brown and oxidized and like, man, what is this? This is what like is that, because that's what brewers have said to me is a general concern, even from their own brewery, let alone from someone else who might not do the proper purging and stuff.
Yeah, no, definitely, and that's that's one of the reasons that I'm not massive on growlers, because it's massively on who's filling it. So I'm sort of more hoping the takeaway license is able to be continued for alcohol for those other venues, because I mean that'd be better for us too. Like,
right?
You know,
no,
you've
definitely.
got to have. I don't know what the license structure is over there, but it's just there's just so many different tiers. Like there's not one license that covers you can sell alcohol. It's
I don't even know how many licenses Quebec has. It's actually like ridiculous. It has to be like 5 or something. I feel like I know 4 off the
main. I had a question for you on that actually, because one of the big things we've talked about like at length on all of these content we've been doing the past couple months is Quebec doesn't have you can't deliver. So the breweries themselves can't have an online store and personally either have a driver or put it through the post beer at all. They can order online and then people can pick it up, but they're not allowed to ship. Whereas like Ontario, they can do whatever they want. Every brewery, a lot of them already had it. Now pretty much every brewery has an online store. If you have a facility that makes it, it's different rules if you're contracting. So what's that? And Quebec are being like, they're dragging their feet. We're changing it, and the breweries are just begging for it because they're like, this could like change the game from us if we could just like sell. Plus, as a consumer, that's dope because then I can get beers from Quebec, other areas or whatever that don't typically come to Montreal, for example. So for you, what's the laws like as far as that in Australia or Victoria specifically?
So our license that we have is a wine and beer producers license. And that basically just covers pretty much everything. But that's like the top tier license that you want if you're a brewery or a winery. Because there's stipulations that, when we first started, we couldn't have that license. So because we didn't have a cellar door or anywhere to sell. Like you have to have that to be able to have that license. So we had to basically open that cellar door at the start before we opened the bar just to get that beer and wine producer's license. So we were a pre-retail before that. Pre-retail, I don't think you are allowed to do direct to public. You're only allowed to go to pre-retail to retail sellers, to some bottle shops and stuff. But our beer and wine producer's license, it's anything. So you can do it by post. You can deliver it straight to someone's door. You can do pretty much anything you want in that sense.
That's sick. And is that countrywide or statewide?
Yeah, that's countrywide.
That's so dope.
Yeah.
And so do you have an online store and people can just order online and you ship it out?
Yeah.
Through Australia Post or through like FedEx or that type of thing?
So at the moment we're using a service called Sendle.
Okay, it's like some third party.
Yeah, they use like Couriers Please and stuff like that. So
okay.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I mean, everyone's getting slammed at the moment, so
I bet. Yeah.
Their pricing is pretty decent. But yeah, we had always planned to do an online store before this mayhem started, and this just fast tracked everything.
Yeah.
Right. And like we won't stop it when we get back through this because it's been amazing for us. It's one of the things that sort of kept us not kept us afloat, but it's really helped. It's helped make up what the tap room being closed has sort of and we're still, even if it's just the boys now brewing 2-3 days a week. If we didn't have that online store, they'd be brewing 1 day a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
What were you brewing before this? Like, how often were you brewing?
We were doing probably 3 to 4.
Okay,
3 to 4, and then 2 packaging. Yeah, we haven't slowed down that much, to be honest.
That's great,
good, man. What percentage of sales are like Victoria versus the rest of the country? Like, just curious as far as like how the brand is getting out there. Like, if people are in Perth or something and they don't have access to your stuff, are they like, are people like, oh fuck, all right, this is a good reason to maybe they wouldn't have thought about ordering from elsewhere and they couldn't before. There's only if an importer brought it out or whatever. So like, how does that work?
Yeah, so we actually looked at the figures this week. So we've got obviously we do our own distribution in Victoria, and then we've got a distributor in Queensland and a distributor in WA.
Sick.
We send probably a quarter of stock goes to Queensland,
That's good.
like like maybe a quarter of each batch, and then maybe a quarter of that quarter goes to WA. And then the rest is generally in Vic and now online. But if you look at the online, like the online data, I think it was Victoria, New South Wales and South Australia make up 88% of all total online sales.
Damn.
Which is great because it's not taking away from our Queensland distributor and our WA distributor. I think WA as a total was 6% of online sales, which is nothing. So
Right. Is that was
so which is
go on. Sorry.
It's one of the things that like we were sort of with this online store, we didn't want to take away from our local bottle shops that have, been supporting us from day one, because a lot of people can go, well, why would they come and buy it from me when they can just order it direct now? But it's not like our figures don't show that, because even made up in that 88%, majority of it is not to Vic, and the stuff that is to Victoria is like out country, rural Victoria sort of stuff. It's most people are ordering off the online store because we don't distribute in their area. So which is it's great.
Okay, that's awesome. That's kind of what I was thinking would happen, just because like it's like if people aren't used to this online ordering, and now literally everyone's ordering everything. Even we were not big on.
We were talking about that today. I'm like, check us out. We're just like online ordering machines right now.
Yeah,
like
we're
going
getting wild.
Everything all the time.
Everything, coffee funny. Now, getting all the coffee
all our coffee
beans.
beans. We're like, let's just buy from all the roasters, and we'll just like whatever.
Wine, beer, we're already getting stuff.
Like I was
anyway,
never having like cases of wine sent to my house before, but I'm like, fuck, might as well, right?
Yeah.
So,
it just makes a lot more sense. I feel like once you're right that it's probably smart not to change it afterwards, because people are going to get used to living like this to a degree, because it's convenient as hell. And then all of a sudden, folks in, like you said, the rural areas who don't have great craft beer bottle shops in their area, or like just some place that you don't distribute to yet, now they can just access it. So that's like really cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
On that,
especially for a brewery our size.
Right. Yeah, that's true, because you're sort of like to position it with you guys do. Is that a bad way to say that you guys do the high pays? Is that you cool with that? I know you and I. Yeah, you're cool with that, right? Because you've gone like honestly, bro, you've like fucking tripled down on that shit since I was there a year ago. And I love it. It looks amazing. And I've noticed like over here, this is one thing I'd be curious from your side. Over here, it's like all the all the breweries that are doing high pays are selling out in like Bar Canada today had their launch. There's one in just on the Quebec side of Ottawa called in Gatineau is the name of the area, and the brewery's called Brasserie du Bar Canada, like Lower Canada, and they were the first to do high pays in Quebec. So they have a anniversary release here today. The whole anniversary release sold out in 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh!
And then today, Wood Brothers, that's another friends of ours. We did a collab with them recently. They do high pays and like pastry stouts and smoothies, or like basically the same stuff we like. And they sell out. Nate checked and said today it took 5 minutes to sell out.
Oh jeez. So and then Masorum, didn't they just collab with somebody, and then for the first time that Four Origins, and then for the first time that brewery had a ridiculous line, and it's because it's ridiculous, it's crazy.
So the high pays is, I was like, before this started, I was like, oh man, this might be interesting to see what people's habits become, in the sense of like, are people going to pull back on spending that sort of money on all of these beers, or are they going to, what are they going to do?
That's what I thought. I thought
they would have.
Fuck, if people like start losing jobs and stuff like that, they might not be buying. That's really going to hurt the industry and all this stuff. And then it's the complete opposite. I feel like they're just hoarding and going even like crazier.
It's actually kind of annoying me, to be honest. Cause, it's easier for me.
Because then you have to be online like concert tickets, like trying to get beer now.
I can't. It's dumb. I ordered from Bellwoods today, and I told about Bellwoods in Toronto, right?
Yeah.
So they dropped Milk Shark, which is their the milkshake. So they dropped a new one today. I ordered that, sent it to my friend's house. He sends it to me, so I pay $10 to get it to them. He refuses to take money, so I just buy coffee and send him coffee beans for it. And it's easier for me and cheaper for me to do that than it is to me get an Uber and back to the Hype Brewery here and try and do it, because I'd have to get up at 10 a.m., which is not happening, and then buy the beer within that first 5 minutes or it's going to go.
Yeah.
So the long-winded asked question is, are you selling out like immediately online, or what's the kind of vibe been for your stuff? Is it like a scramble for it and then you're like gone, or what's the deal?
So there's a few beers that we have done recently that have sold out in insanely quick times. And like you've seen where we are, we're not like if we were closer to the city, I think we would be getting a lot more like through, and possibly, people lining. You don't need to line because we keep more at the brewery.
Right.
But
Yeah.
people, I don't know, people kind of like, I think people like the idea of
They
lining.
do.
They see the same people and,
Yeah.
get to hang out.
It's an
It's a bit of a
experience.
social event.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in saying that, but the two beers that we have done recently that have sold out online, we did have very, very small lines outside the brewery, people waiting. I think there was like maybe 15 to 20 people just
pretty
lining up. And I'm like, yeah, you don't have to line up, guys. Like, just come in and buy the beer. Like,
It's okay.
but online, so that altogether beer sold out in both us and, do you know Range?
Yeah.
From-
They're
yeah,
the other
yeah.
ones I keep hearing about.
Yeah, they're if we're hype, they're like ultra hype.
Oh, really?
wow.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're
Ultra
awesome.
hype.
We've got a really good relationship with them. We've done collabs with them. I literally, if you go through my past, probably 20 messages, there's the three main guys from that brewery will feature in them very highly.
Right.
We're like, we're probably lucky we don't live closer because we'd just be hanging out all the time and breaking social distancing
It'd be dangerous.
and making all the juice. But yeah, so we released all together at the same time as them
Nice.
on the same day, and like I think both of us sold out of that online in 4 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And
so
then we did the next week we did Idaho Fields, which was our Idaho 7 single hop oat cream double IPA, and that sold out of like cases in 2 minutes, but then it took like another 30 to sell out of the rest of the 4-packs. So we did in half an hour. But then Range last week, they had their second birthday and they did 4 beers. It was a session IPA, a normal IPA, all haze,
Okay.
session IPA, normal IPA, oat cream double IPA, and a triple IPA. They sold out online of all 4 in 9 minutes. And then
Jesus.
they had a line for 3.5 hours.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're hitting up
But,
that place when we get back.
Yeah.
They sold 1,500 cans. I think there was the whole 4 tanks was 1,500 cans in total, and it was gone in like 6 hours or something.
Good for them.
Man.
Yeah, it was
That's so
insane.
wild.
And then they had another release yesterday, and then they sold. I think they sold out of all but 1. They had 3 beers, and so they sold out of the 2 by like, I don't know, the first 20 minutes or something.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Yeah, they're killing it. They're doing so well.
That's insane. And as well, the interesting thing about these beers in Australia, like I think when last time we hung out, I was telling you like the prices in Australia are like exorbitant in comparison to here, just because of.
What's the cost of like a case of...
Yeah, maybe you could give some context. So what would like a tall boy of an IPA or hazy double single or double IPA run retail?
Just for a can or a
For
can?
Case.
1 can and then
Oh,
a 4-pack in a case. or
So
something. On
a can,
average.
So like our Idaho Fields,
Yeah.
that was a 8.5%
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
oat cream.
So it's a big one.
And that, I think most people were retailing that for $14 a can.
Goodness gracious.
Okay.
And it's like 40, we sold it for 43 a 4-pack.
That's a good deal.
And then case, we sold that we did a case of 12, was $115.
Okay. That's not so bad.
That's
But, like, the
$14
single-
for a
yeah.
can is insanity.
Yeah,
Not
you
for
would.
living in
sold it-
Australia, though.
We
It
sold
makes
it
sense.
for $12 a can.
Okay.
Right, so there was a retail
Yeah.
markup.
And
Okay.
I guess like in Australia it makes sense because there's all the things to consider. You're paid more in Australia. It's just things are more expensive. There's all these tiers. It's just crazy here. Like that's like insane for usually you get
wouldn't
like
swing it.
a crazy bottle of something aged.
Yeah.
Like-
So that's 50% of that entire cost for us is tax.
Jesus.
Ooh,
that's why. Okay, it's tax.
interesting.
Okay, that explains it.
Oh.
Like if
That's all it is. Like 100%. It's all tax.
Wow.
Otherwise, we'd be in line with American pricing pretty much.
is
Wow.
that a conscious sort of thing in the eyes of like any of the Independent Brewers Association and stuff like that? That are they looking at that, because that's pretty wild.
Oh, they try to all the time, but like it's just like our excise literally goes up twice a year. Like they bump it up, and that's one of the things that, like, we don't do price rises at all. We've never raised the price on a beer that we make. We set the price, and we make the same amount of money whether it's a double IPA or a 4% pale ale. We make that's our we've got our price bracket of profit, and we do the same on every single beer. We probably actually go down on some of those bigger ones because we're like we want these to move.
Right.
We want them to sell, and we don't want them sitting on shelves and stuff like that. So, but yeah, it's just, and I don't know if it's the same in Canada because it's not in America. I think in America they pay, like, they've just got a tax bracket, and that covers whatever ABV. The higher ABV you go in Australia, the more tax you pay.
I think that's the same here.
That's the same here, yeah.
But it's just probably not as intense because the way they market on the thing, like, this is considered, they have to put light beer,
yeah.
then it'll just say
Strong.
beer.
Oh,
then
yeah.
if it's over 6%, it's strong beer, and if I think it's over like 8, it's extra strong beer. And I think the tax bracket rises with each one, and they did it cap recently at 11.9%, which is arbitrary as fuck. Like for barley wines, imperial stout, stuff like that, I think from what I'm unofficially told, people don't always stick to that. They just have to put that on the packaging, and is what it is. But sometimes people have to brew products that fit a certain thing because otherwise it's going to be too expensive. So that's interesting. Do you get a lot of pushback then, or is like this scene aware of that, and they're like, all right, well, this is just this is what you pay for these type of beers?
I think for us personally, it's like we're at a stage where, like, people know why our beers are expensive, and we are actually for the beers that we're making, we're probably on the middle to lower side of the price bracket.
Interesting.
Because we do make a lot less profit.
Okay.
Like intentionally to make it more accessible. So there's some breweries that are making a lot more than us, and we're very small. It costs us a lot more money to make than it would them. But I think people know, if we're releasing a double IPA and they want a hoppy beer, they're going to get a pretty hoppy beer. So they're sort of happy to pay for it. I haven't really had anyone recently come back and say anything about pricing.
Okay. So there's arguably then, like you said, being the keyword used was recently, that means there's a growing understanding in Australia as far as the palate is changing. They're understanding what these beers are, what it takes to make them, and that they're like, well, if this is as good as what you can get up this side, then like I'm down to pay that $12-14, whatever it is, a can, and they're cool with that.
Yeah, for sure. And it's also, I mean, like, it's not like you look at our even basic sort of pale ales, and then you look at like a CUB, like a Carlton Draft or a VB. It's not like they're on par with American pricing. You can't buy a 30 block for, $18.
30 block.
Yeah, it's what's a block? Is that the VB? Did the block they call them?
I don't know.
There was one called a block. There's a slab, which is very Australia, as a slab.
Yeah.
And then the block was the 30, just an extra 6-pack.
Okay.
And it's just a marketing ploy, really.
Okay,
but
there you go.
Yeah.
the fact that you said that
but
means it's become a part of the parlance, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is pretty funny.
Yeah, but we were buying because when years ago when I did a snow season in Colorado, we were buying, as our cheap everyday beer that we just wanted to, because we were like early 20s.
What are you grabbing?
30,
like Coors?
30 packs. Yeah, 30 packs of like Bud Light, Coors, and stuff like that. And it was like, it's like $15.
Yeah, so cheap.
It's pretty wild.
Like to buy that here, to buy even 24 here of VB, I think is $55.
Wow.
So
Wow.
Okay, so it's not like... So just alcohol is more expensive.
Yeah,
anyway.
altogether.
yeah, people just know that alcohol is expensive here. And like same with wine. Like you can buy cheap wine, but cheap wine is cheap wine.
Yeah.
Hey, but your cheap
But
wine
cheap
is
wine is
way
fire.
better than our cheap wine.
Australian stuff
Yeah.
is like so wild in comparison. I was telling Tiff back in the day, like before I left, like a decade ago, I used to buy, I think they're called clean skins, the joints. and you just to cook with them, and then
Yeah.
you just pour a glass anyway, and they're fire. And they're like $6. Like I don't know what they
Hey,
are
I
now,
don't know.
but
When
they're
we were
like
at Dan Murphy's, is that what it's
yeah,
called?
Dan's. Yeah.
Dan Murphy's and that like $5 thing. I'm like, those are like legit like $15 wines in Canada or something like that. It was
Yeah.
like in this little $5 bin, or like I don't know, Wolf Blast. Like that's huge.
Oh, yeah.
That's like an expensive
Mad cheap there, and it's
wine
expensive here, right?
and then like it was nothing
Yeah,
there.
right.
And I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'll just buy these like.
The quality of the wines over there, it's just out of control.
Oh,
like,
they're
it's
great,
so
yeah.
sick, and you get them here, but it's not the same. You get the Jacob's.
It
Creek
depends
stuff
where you.
and
Yeah, the Australian wines here are like super
It's not
high priced.
Yeah, you don't get access
and
to
not
it.
the greatest ones that you guys
No.
have. They're the low tier ones. So
Yeah. I think we're pretty spoiled for wine. I'm too much of a wine snob. Whenever we go to America, we're like, all right, we're not drinking any wine over here. So even like when we were in near Russian River,
Napa.
we're like, oh, we'll go Napa and check out the wineries. And Jesus, the wine was expensive.
Oh my
oh
God.
my gosh. Yeah,
Bro.
like, wow. We did not expect
I didn't
that.
know
Like,
that.
our friend Jonathan, who just
It's
came up
commenting
here,
right now.
who's commenting, like, said, they're like, hey, just so you know, like, it's going to be a bit pricey.
Did they say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I didn't realize it was going to be like that. Like, whereas, like,
Like
every
75
stay
US
is,
for
like,
a
70
tasting
US, so
per
we're paying, like,
person.
$100 Canadian
Yeah.
That's
per
like-
winery.
Yo,
like,
yeah.
that's
like
not what it is like in Ontario. In Ontario, you could get a tasting for like $10 and sometimes
$5
free.
to $10 if you buy one bottle. They write it
Yeah.
off, and half the time they're like, "Yeah, you're good."
Yeah, they're like fine.
One time
Yeah.
we went to this ball
We went to
winery
this really baller place and we were like, oh
called
fuck,
Hole
we're fucked.
in Napa because a friend said to go.
Yeah.
And then they gave it to us for free. I couldn't
For
believe
some
it.
reason, the guy was like,
They didn't know
just
us
take
from
it on us.
from all the from the beer and stuff.
Nothing.
or
It had
whatever.
nothing to do with
'Cause
my
that
wine
sometimes happens,
stuff or
of
his
course,
beer
but-
stuff. He was just like, hey, don't
No,
worry.
I
you're all
was
good.
like, we should really let's get the fuck
We
out
just
of
ran
here.
away. We're like, okay, fine.
Because like that's like $100 Canadian for like
And we like to
Four
do
different
like
wines with a little
6 to 7
2
in
ounces or
a
whatever.
day or something like that. You know, you're cruising around and
Oh,
stuff.
man, that's
we're
like a-
oh, so
you
we'll
drop a
do
K
like 2 to 3
easy
or 2.
doing that.
Yeah, whatever we did there.
Fuck, I
And
can't
even
see found the same.
Sonoma wasn't that. It's still
Yeah.
around. It's still expensive too.
It was nice. It was really beautiful, but like,
Yeah.
man, yeah. So I feel you.
And
Yarra
the
Valley.
wines weren't like, at least
Oh,
when I
yeah.
experienced, one place I really loved, but it wasn't mind blowing. Like I still, by far, enjoyed a lot of like wines from Ontario versus the ones that I was having there. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pay $100, and my mind's not like blown
No.
by this.
Yeah.
You know, like we went to
Yeah.
what's the champagne? What's the
Mum?
sparkling?
Mum? No.
Mum, say for example. Not sorry, Moet.
Oh, the Chandon.
Yeah, Chandon. Sorry, it's
Hang,
not
where,
like
in Yarra or here? Or
Yarra we
Napa?
went, which was fantastic, and we also went to the one in Napa. But I was like, it's not so life changing that I need to
yeah,
spend
we
like
did too.
$120 to like have four tastings. You know,
Yeah.
like it's
Like it's
pretty
cool,
crazy.
but it's not that worth it.
No,
Okay, yeah,
no.
yeah, the wine stuff there, but it's definitely
Get a
cool
whole case of hazy IPAs for
for a tasting.
for a tasting at Napa Valley.
Yeah,
Like
so-
We
it's
look at it like
pretty-
that.
Yeah.
So Jonathan Mill says the whole family is lost. Tiff, no worries. What do you mean? What do you mean?
What did
the
I
whole
say?
family is lost.
Lost
I think
is something.
sometimes it's
Because it's
delayed.
delayed. Oh, it
There's
is
like a
because
slight
I've
delay.
watched our live, and it's
Okay.
like it's pretty delayed.
Yeah.
Like
Okay.
there's like a 15-second delay from
Okay, so
when
he'll
a comment
correct
comes
that.
up. So yeah. Hey
Okay.
Johnny, say hello
Um,
to Root.
Yeah, because you can't see any of this stuff, Chris. I apologize.
But we get
It's,
comments that come up on the sides while
Yeah,
you're
and
talking.
you can put them
Yeah,
up on.
it's all good.
You'll see it later. So we're talking. I kind of lost what we were talking about because we went off track.
Talking
We were
there.
talking about
Talking
the
wine.
wine, but we were talking about the price of
The
stuff
price of
as
shit.
well.
Okay, so people are
Yeah.
cool with that. Because I remember back in the day when I thought I was fancy and we'd buy, it was like $19 for a 6-pack of Corona in, I don't know, 20 years ago. And we were always like, all right, if we're really trying to bowl out, that was the one. But otherwise you could get beer and you get like $10 for like Tooheys Extra Dry or some garbage like that. So I guess the point is people have adjusted to those price points, which might seem, oh, hang on, what's John saying? Referring to slappers. I'm not too sure. Maybe he can talk to us afterwards.
Okay, and this is interesting, just talking about pricing and stuff like that, then that means overall the palette has risen
That was really
because
good,
when
too.
I was there even 2 years ago, it was just golden ale, everything, except for like basically where we visited you, and then who had the other juice, because this is 2018.
Merrick.
Yeah,
Merrick.
Merrick.
Yeah.
Like besides that, like everything else, every time we went somewhere, I was like, "Oh, great, another golden ale! Yay, this is so
Yeah.
great." So that means that the palate must have adjusted. If there's hype haze now, like if this is happening.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, yeah, there's not a lot of golden ales kicking around now.
Oh, beautiful! Thank goodness.
Nah. Yeah, it's there's a lot of hazy beers. There's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of not so good ones.
Always gonna be that way.
Standard.
There's a bunch of like pastry stouts and stuff like that are slowly starting to like ease their way in,
Interesting.
and like the bigger sours as well.
Okay.
Sorry,
It's all right.
Brooks, want to say hi?
Children love beer.
Yeah.
Kids love beer.
Hey,
Hi.
All right, off you go.
What's his favorite hop?
What's your? I don't know.
I reckon he's
probably
in.
Citra,
Yeah.
just like his dad.
Oh, look at
I was
that.
gonna say, he looked like maybe an Idaho 7 or maybe like a Mandarin of Bavaria kind of kid. I respect, you know.
I was
He's
gonna
like,
go
he
for
seems.
secret,
He does look a little bit German, doesn't he?
Yeah. I can see that, you know.
Yeah.
Jonathan said, I think
Benny.
we'll call the beers a wild name. He said he didn't. We must have referred to the beers as a slapper. I think we're just being idiots.
Oh,
John.
that's
Just-
why he said the whole family is lost, because I
Yeah.
was lost. I was like, what are you?
Yeah.
You said 30. What'd you call it?
Oh, a 30 block.
30 block. What? Yeah.
Oh,
all
a
these things-
slab.
Like we just call
He's
things
talking
cases.
to slappers. A slab. S-L-A-B.
Gotcha.
A slab
Yeah,
is
yeah,
a
yeah.
case, Johnny, or a carton, whatever.
Yeah.
Like.
So I was like,
Yes.
what are you two said?
I always
right now?
forget, like, you know why? Because since I talk to an Australian, for some reason, it's like something
He goes
moves in the
Australian
brain.
immediately. I was making fun of him the other
Yeah.
day because I was
Yeah,
like,
because
yeah,
if I
then all
talk
of a
to my
sudden you're
brother,
like,
oh yeah, nah, she's like, but over here, I don't really do that. Fuck.
The same
I
thing
ra-
Jamaicans do that. I was saying my mom does that. As soon as she's like in the room with another Jamaican,
Yeah, then you
it's
can't
just
understand
like full
a word.
patois immediately. Like, oh, you can't understand.
I
the
can't
word.
understand all
Yeah.
that.
Then Chris
It's fun.
smiles.
They just smile and nod. And they don't stare at you. What was saying? Okay, so the palate. So we were talking about the palate the other day. Last year when I went down was by far the best. We hung out at your spot and you had pretty much a mix of everything, and you were, because I remember I got you the other half, and
Yeah.
I got a follow up question about that afterwards. But the you had done the Weezer juice was your main one, I think. I don't think you had, and this probably, I think this is why I've noticed the change. I feel like from then onwards, you just went bonkers on haze from that point, which is about a year ago. It was March last year.
Yeah.
I think that
Yeah, it's
was,
probably
yeah.
your fault.
It's my fault. I take
Proudly,
responsibility.
I'm sure he'd
Hey,
proudly
take
take that,
responsibility.
yeah.
No, it's just been so sick to watch that, bro, because I figured that like you were the one, and look, you tell me if I'm wrong. You can probably be humble, but I would argue that you were the one, at least in Melbourne, to change that, because you put those styles out there. You took the risk. You rolled the dice because you brewed these expensive beers, hoping that people had the taste for these styles. Is that fair?
Yeah, we were one of the first. We weren't the first.
The first.
Definitely.
Okay.
That
That was just my
and
perspective.
so I think the first was not. I think the first definitely was Three Ravens.
Okay, with Juicy.
They did Juicy. Yeah.
Would it be fair though to say yes, that was a New England, but it was kind of like a Vermont New England, because I had it last time too, and it was cool, but maybe it was like one of the earlier kind of style ones. It wasn't even like Wheeze, because Wheeze was closer to the stuff that I'm used to drinking here, and all the things
Yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying. Like it might have been the precursor to it all though.
Yeah.
Is that-
Yeah. I think things like that, and then even Jedi Juice was.
I was thinking about Jedi Juice. I was like, what's the name with the
Yeah, it was really
Star Wars
early
one?
and stuff like that. Like Weeze was definitely one of the first. I would probably say it was probably the first, like oat cream
Okay.
IPA.
I don't think probably. I
We-
would say, look, fuck, I'm getting cocky saying not probably, but I really feel like no one was doing that at all, and it was no one even here was doing that. That's why I really think that you just like
Yeah, that was a very other half.
you knew the other half
US
were doing it, and you just rolled with it. No one was doing it even in Canada. I still have seen maybe one or two to this day.
Yeah, well, we weren't even like we didn't even know that it was an oat cream IPA. Like we didn't know that was a thing.
Right.
It was just we had lots of oats in it,
Yeah.
and we put lactose in it.
And
It
then
wasn't like
boom.
we at that time we didn't even really know much of the other half stuff, to be honest.
Okay.
We knew of them, but we'd never had them before, so we never had anything to go off at that early stage. So yeah, I don't know. We were definitely up there, and yes, you're right. Since that last trip, we've really just ran with it.
Sick, bro.
And I don't know. I always like every week. I'm like, oh, are we doing too many of these? But I don't know if that. I don't like. I personally don't think so. But I'm like, as a consumer, gonna sit there and go, oh, these guys are just doing a million hazy IPAs. But like, we literally got a phone call from our WA distributor yesterday and said, yeah, our sales guy got one, and he said, can you please tell Chris to make more hazy IPAs? I was like,
Like, all right, no
people-
problem.
give
People
them
want
what
them,
they
bro.
want.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's like when you do them that well, though, I think that's really what it is, because I got someone here, Manflesh Boogie, saying, morning people, hey Chris, double DDH all day, was banging. And he said, yep, agree, Banks on top. Sorry, I pressed, what the fuck wrong thing? Banks on top with the hazies and melbs. There you go. He said Deeds and Hop Nation as well. That's true, because both of those guys were the first lot I had, aside from Wheeze, which was my first. Then I had the Mill, the Deeds Quiet Train, the Hop Nation Jedi and stuff like that.
Yeah, Jedi was good.
Which are still all great beers, and they're all killing it.
So
one thing you said when we drank the, I think it was O Dream that I managed to get, because I was just in New York right beforehand. And he's saying never too many hazy IPAs. Say, look, it's coming from the people, bro. It's coming from the people.
I agree.
You were like, all right, because I don't think you'd had that before. So you were like, I think this is, like, I think we're on the money with this. So, being that you tried that, and I know you'd said you'd had some Trillium and stuff before, from like you had a brewer that came for a job interview, and the legend brought some Trillium for a job interview, which is pretty fire.
Yeah,
smart.
You've got the job.
You got the job.
That's very smart.
Start tomorrow. Start right now.
Yeah.
How do you feel? I know it's sort of hard to sort of say this. It's a kind of tough question, but like in the last year, because obviously things have changed since I was there last again, and then the year before that, it had changed dramatically. So this is why I love watching the Aussie scene. It's the most fascinating in the world, I feel, because of how drastically it's changing, and the fact that Tiff was there 2 years ago and all she remembers is the golden ales and summer ales, and you're like, oh yeah, no, that's like,
that's great.
That's out of here.
Yeah.
Do you think that you're like, how do you feel your stuff now compares? Because if look, someone's here saying that best in Melbourne, but for sure, people keep telling me about Range, and I've seen you post about them too. Like, so I'm familiar with them as far as an Australia-wide thing. But how do you feel your stuff is comparing potentially on a worldwide sort of scale, as much as you can kind of hypothesize from without traveling, Reese? What? You were there last year. You were there in like October on the West Coast.
Yeah. I've said this recently to a few people who have asked similar questions. The last trip I had was like the least impressed I've been with American beer.
It's kind of what you said to me as well. You were like, bro, nothing blew your mind.
We were there for 10 days, and I think we hit up like 25 breweries.
Okay.
And then we went to Modern Times. We were in Portland. We went to a bunch of, the really good ones like Great Notion, really hyped ones there.
What did you think of Great Notion?
Yep. What'd you say?
What did you think of Great Notion?
They were good. They were really good. They had a lot of hazy beers.
Yeah, all their shit is haze.
And some really, really good sours, which we're sort of starting to play in the field of. Because sours in Australia are completely different to sours, I think, anywhere else. Okay. Everyone in Australia just wants like a 3 to 4% sour here that's got some fruit in it, that's not, overly fruited, just like really drinkable. Because I think it just suits the climate. But the sours over there, like no sour over there is below 6% that we found, apart from maybe some of the Anderson Valley stuff and stuff like that.
For the most part.
But so they were a lot bigger, which, more alcohol gives you the chance to put bigger, bolder flavors in and stuff like that. So it's sort of what we're playing with a bit at the moment now as well. But yeah, out of the 25 breweries, I literally could probably say, like, they're on one hand, the ones that stood out.
With Modern Times, one of those?
It was. I have had, obviously, Modern Times that have been here, and on previous trips to the States, I have had Modern Times. And I was really, really excited to go and have Modern Times there, and they were like my number one on the list. But we make, personally, not as sweet hazy IPAs as what they make.
Interesting.
Their hazy, they were really sweet, personally.
Okay.
And I like them, but I bought cans that, I bought 4-packs and stuff like that I bring home. And I got home and I was like, man, I can't drink more than half of one of these cans. They're just
too sweet.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. That was, I think on average, the American hazy IPAs are a lot sweeter than the Australian ones. But me personally, we sit probably in the middle of that. Okay. In that sweetness and dryness sort of range. I still want it to be quite drinkable. And then and that's where the oat cream IPAs have that, like, they're our sweet ones. And then the others that we do, whether it's a double IPA or that DDH all day that we did, like that has the dryness of a West Coast IPA pretty much.
Right.
Like the drinkability of that. Like it's hazy as all hell. And it's got all those really bright tropical fruit characteristics and the citrus from the Motueka and stuff like that. But it finishes really clean and dry. There's no like cloyingness or anything like that. So yeah, I don't know. I also think, expectation is a massive thing that can either help or kill something. And I think for me, modern times, my expectations were way too high.
It's always the worst, eh? Yeah. I'm curious now to see I wonder why they're sweeter, because I don't think, like, one of the things
everything in the United States is sweeter.
Everything is in the States is sweeter. You truly put sugar
like
in
the
everything.
ketchup sweet.
Yeah, right.
And stuff like that. So I wouldn't be surprised.
But they also like I can't see what would make a regular IPA that doesn't have lactose in it sweet. Like I don't know, unless it's like just a different malt character or something that's bringing out more sweetness in it. Probably, I guess that's all that could be. Right?
Yeah, I think it's definitely malt that they use, and then simple things like mash temperatures and stuff like that. I've spoken to one of the brewers who brews for Collective Arts, who is now back in Australia.
Maddie.
Yeah.
No, I thought Maddie came
No,
back.
he's back. He's back. I spoke to him today.
Oh, he came back?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a legend. I fucking love that guy.
I saw him last time I saw him was
at a festival. He said you gave him some. What did you say to me?
Feb. Yeah.
He gave me a couple of things to talk about actually today.
Okay, cool. Yeah. So, and he was telling me some of their mash temperatures and stuff like that, and I'm like, holy crap! Like,
yeah, it's kind of that's what it is, eh?
Yeah, it's just things like that. Like,
he said you took
anyway.
You took care of him at the Brewers Feast and had a triple fruited goza slushy.
Ooh.
Yeah.
The way you say it, so that was fun. Like, that
fun.
sounds like Christopher. Yeah, so I guess they'd probably do it. So Collective Arts, have you had their stuff? They must have it down there.
Yeah, that's some. Yeah, Mr. West generally.
Oh, Mr. West. Yeah, they get all this because they're close with him and stuff. Yeah, that's pretty dope. But Matt's an interesting dude because he's got a unique perspective, being that he worked for them and then he got kicked out and then hustled his way back. So I think he had to quarantine. But they just blew up. I had so many people talk shit about Collective Arts to me, like on DMs. I'll post about them on BAOS and then I'll get DMs about it. Like people
But it's not about the beer; it's the business model or something.
Yeah, because they got like money behind.
They're just massive.
I think the beers are great.
When things become so massive, you just have more like criticisms and stuff like that.
I've only had good experiences with them.
Yeah, they've always been great
to us before they were huge as well. But shit.
Like it's never about the product. That's what I'm saying. It's never about the product.
Man.
It's like not liking their practices, and it's like they're a big business. That's what's going to happen as they get bigger and bigger.
It's part of the deal, right?
It's part of the deal, yeah.
So one of the things that was based on what Tiff was saying before, he said he was interested by the discussion about Australia being behind so far in palate because the market is session beers mostly.
Yep.
And he said it's potentially what you said about the taxation. Yes, because people would rather buy a $20 six-pack to like a $12 tall can or something like that. Do you think that's a fair point that people... Can you grab the other beer? You know what it is? And get the bottle open, please?
What do we do? Oh, it's an Aussie beer, right?
Yeah. What do you think about that? Do you think that that's part of does price speak to the palate in Australia specifically?
Yeah, 100%. But I also think, as I said before, like the climate and stuff, like summer's pretty bloody hot here. Having those really sessionable beers and stuff like that, and the alternate, like the other options that sort of people come, like that they, like obviously not everyone starts drinking craft beer. Right. If someone's drinking, I don't know, maybe not like a VB or Carlton or something like that because they're really
it's heavy, too much of a jump.
But like if the biggest sort of probably commercial beer at the moment in Australia, I think is Great Northern, and that's like a 3.8%. Like it's just
water,
the footy, basically.
I did it at the footy just so I could do the photo with him. God, that was bad.
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah. But like if you're making the jump from like that into craft beer, going for higher ABV beers and stuff like that, it's just such a wide, like a big jump to go for. So yeah, I think also, I don't know, maybe the drinking culture here is part of it too. Like,
in what sense?
I don't know. People drink People drink a lot.
Like the volume is pretty high, and I guess financially it probably wouldn't add up so well if everyone was crushing cases of 8% double IPAs and shit, and they'll get fat too,
Yeah.
real quick.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I think it's a bit of all of that. It's definitely like price point and taxation and all that sort of stuff.
Okay.
But I do think, like as you were sort of starting to say before, how we've just gone on, ever since pretty much your last trip, like, we have 2 to 3 hazy beers every month sort of thing, and we're really doubled down on it. The thing for me that I think a lot of the trips that I've done recently overseas, and then things like you bringing down, that glorious mixed bag of beers that you gave me,
Man.
and even just like little talks with people like yourself and stuff like that, the difference between the Australian, like, New England IPAs or hazy IPAs and the American ones they were just putting more of everything in them. There is just more hops,
Right.
and more, yeah.
And that's all it came down to. It's just volume.
I think so, because we just started hopping beers. Like, people go, "Oh, how are you doing this?" Like, well, we're not. It's not me giving away a secret. Like, you want a beer to taste like that, you need to put a lot of hops in it. Like,
right. And that's expensive.
Exactly. So, and that then comes back to that price market. So, obviously, the population is a lot smaller in Australia. So, you're pushing, and that's why things like lineups and stuff aren't necessarily probably going to happen in every state around Australia, because there's just people know that they can get it a lot easier. Like, the access to it is a lot more because the population's less. The people that are actually looking out, sourcing these big double IPAs are a lot less than what they are in other countries. So
Right.
yeah.
Interesting. But it's just cool that like you've been able to sustain the business model and grow to have the hype that you had. Like, it's easy for me to say this because I'm looking from afar, right? Like, I know we only talk every few months or something, but like we're not really talking about that. Like, I'm just looking at it from the outside and what people are saying, what the comments are, and the type of stuff you're posting. And to me, it just I'm getting that same vibe. Like, people seem really excited about the beers that you're making, which is a fantastic sign for the palate in Australia. And even at the what was the event, the Good Beer Week Gala thing that we went to?
The showcase.
The showcase one.
Yeah.
That was the first Aussie Beer Festival I ever went to, and that was fun. That was really cool, and I feel like I had a bunch of haze at that one. So many fantastic beers that were really interesting, and that was, once again, it was a year and a bit ago. So I can only imagine, and that's why I'm extra spewing, because we were supposed to be there at the end around March.
Yeah.
And it was going to time up for the Carwin Invitational, which I know you were at.
Right.
And then you did the collab with Superflux. They're one of my favorite breweries in Vancouver, and I saw that you just dropped it anyway because you're like, fuck it. How did that happen? That is sick, bro.
So that was obviously with the Carwin collaboration, they pair you up with another brewery. So they paired us up with them, and then we were talking back and forth with Adam and Matt about making the beer when they got, because we were going to do one beer beforehand that was done via correspondence that we would have at the festival, and then do one that we would brew when they were here.
Okay.
So one would be like a single IPA of that beer, and then the other would be a double when they got here. So we just like back and forth about recipe and stuff like that. And then because it was all going to be keg basically for this event and stuff like that, and then that didn't happen. So we're like, shit, what are we going to do? So we had these little labels that we had upstairs that we haven't used for like 2 years. And we're like, oh, we'll just throw them through the thermal printer and just print off a name and go with it. So yeah, it was cool. And I hope, I don't think that event is going to happen this year.
No, no chance.
They've postponed it. They've postponed it to October at the moment, they're saying. But
nah, man.
Yeah, I can't see anyone getting into the country before then. So, but I hope it happens, and I hope we still have something to do with them, because I think, especially that beer for me, we did a lot of things that they would do, and they recommended, and I think if we sort of met more halfway of what we do and what they do, like I think the beer's got serious potential.
Amazing. Did you try any of their stuff? Like any of their...
No, I've never had anything of theirs. No, you don't get any over here. That was going to be the first time.
The first time? Their shit is crazy.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I can see what's going on. I owe you something. I was supposed to bring you the beers that I owed you I was going to bring them down. Now they got fucked up, so I'm going to get you out. We can't get him here. I got a boy I trade with in Vancouver who usually gets me stuff,
okay.
so he gets all that
Yeah.
stuff for me. And there's a brewery. Funnily enough, there's this brewery in Toronto now that basically they call Craft Brand Co. And basically what they do, they just get licenses from Omnipolo,
Smart.
Mikella, Superflux. Who else? There's a bunch of breweries. So instead of importing them, they just brew them through a contract brewery, and it's
Okay.
all approved by the actual breweries. So. It's a
Yeah.
pretty dope way to do it. I haven't had their version of it because I've had the Superflux from Vancouver, so I'd be interested to see how that stacks up.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that shit is pretty fire. On a complete opposite note, so I saw this there's this thing, Color and Shape from Superflux is awesome. That's the one. That's their number one beer. Color and Shape is fucking fire. So there's this in Quebec. They have a government liquor store. So it's called the SAQ. And they sell wine, liquor, and a tiny little bit of beer. And some of the better ones import some cool stuff from Europe. They get some lambics and sometimes just some Magic Rock. I got a porter from them and just a bunch of other random shit. And the other day I saw this and I copped it. See if it'll work.
Sirène, nice.
Is it working? Can you tap it, babe? Just for people who don't know, I never had it. It's like a saison. Clearly nothing I am personally interested in. I was going to do a 1-minute review, but I thought this is no better time.
Yeah.
Have you had it?
Hey, we're just talking about Mr. Vancouver.
I've had a lot of theirs. I don't know if I've had that one. It'll be good.
They said it's the I think it was nearly $10. I don't know what it was worth here
For saison.
for a saison.
Sorry.
Oh, it smells good.
Yeah, they make really good
No, it
beers.
could be good though.
I had a
had
couple of
great
their
saisons.
barrel
I've
aged
had
stuff. I
great
think this is their standard saison.
Like the house
Thank you.
saison. Yeah.
Are you still feeling the same way about saisons that I do, Chris?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, these guys. I actually do really like their saisons. I think that's excellent, their saisons. But yeah, I think theirs just have a little bit more to them than
Than the average one. I gotta take a photo
I
real
do
quick.
have a question.
Yeah,
Okay.
run the question, or we can do this. Ready? You know the drill with this nonsense,
just because
Chris.
we're drinking, I was just thinking about we were talking about Vancouver and the fact that Daniel, who you just mentioned,
Oh,
I
he's
didn't know
actually
he
just
was
popped up on the
here.
screen here. I was just
Yeah,
talking about
he
you
says
there.
Vancouver beers for the win. It's nearly impossible to get beers from Vancouver in Quebec or Ontario or anywhere else for that matter. So, what's it like in Australia? Are you able to get beers pretty easily between, across the border? Basically, we don't have cross provincial
Cross
trading.
states and stuff.
Yeah, are you able to get it, or is it a whole thing like it is here? It's just not even possible. You mentioned having distributors in Western Australia and stuff like that, but
Yeah, no, there's literally no ruling. You can sell anywhere in Australia.
wow, what a life!
So smart.
That's how it should be.
Canada really made
Because
it
say for
very
example, it's
difficult.
just not possible for us. Period. There's no it's just it's not something that's possible to do. You have to trade, or you have to go over.
Yeah.
You have to do a lot.
Yeah, international is the only thing that they care about.
That's how it should be because it's the same fucking country.
And only because they really want the tax. So
It's really about the tax.
Of course they
then
do,
in the
right?
end. Yeah.
there's ways around that,
Cheers.
isn't there?
Cheers.
Just
Yeah.
right.
Just say it's merch.
Just works every
There
time.
you go. There you go.
It's bloody expensive though.
I was
Yeah,
really
man.
heavy merch. Sorry, but anyways. yeah.
Really, really expensive. I saw how much you paid for shipping. I'm like, Jesus. So
It was like $70, wasn't it?
it was
For 4-pack?
54.
My
54.
goodness.
Yeah.
I don't know why that number stuck in my head because it was the most obscene thing I've ever heard. Me and Daniel, the guy I just commented now, I think we got this. I got hold of Craigslist. This dude had a, those wine shippers, like a 12-bottle wine shipper with the 2 pieces of styrofoam. So we kind of gutted some of them out so we could put, instead of just the wine bottle, we put 2 cans on top of each other. So we used to do that back and forth before I got way too much beer to drink. And he, I think I used to pay $30 to ship a whole thing, usually 14 to 16 beers across the country. It's basically Melbourne to Perth.
Yeah.
And so $50 to send 4 beers. I mean, I understand the distance is pretty obscene, and that shit was mad fresh. So still though,
Yeah.
Still ridiculous.
it's kind of bonkers.
Yeah, and that was I think that was the lowest tier. They were $54, but there's no tracking. There's no anything. So
It's gonna
if
be
if it goes missing, it's missing.
It is
And I
what it
was
is.
like,
It's gonna be on
Yeah.
a boat, and we're gonna give it to this
Like,
guy,
fine.
and then this guy's gonna like
Right.
walk it over.
but
And look.
I think they were charging like $24 extra for tracking, and I was like, oh,
No,
come
no,
on.
yeah.
No, that's ridiculous.
insane.
No.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So at least, but I do like that you're able to actually drink beers from other, like across the country where we can't. That's like the one thing that's even during this time where it's like we all can't travel in Canada. So this would have been the ideal time to open up the borders a bit more. We didn't have that opportunity again. So it's a silly. It's some law we've had since 1920, I believe.
28.
28. There you go. 1928.
1928. So dumb. So ridiculous.
Yeah, no, it's really easy here. I've actually got more beer from other people at the moment than I've ever had in my life, I reckon, because we just keep like swapping. Like we'll package 3 new beers and we'll just put them in a box and send them up to like Range or Mountain Culture or something like that. These other breweries, and then they'll do the same. And yeah, I got so much beer at the moment. It's crazy.
So it's a dangerous problem, eh?
Yeah.
I like that Australia can do that because I just feel like here we get screwed so bad. I was telling people, I was like, just like roll the dice. I feel like if you just DM'd a brewery and was that in another province, and they would just be like, look, man, I want to buy your shit. I know times are hard. If you're willing to ship them, like I'm willing to pay it. Like, are you cool to go around the system? Yeah. I feel like most people.
There's definitely that possibility. Like we have one friend who owns a winery, and like I saw like them announce like Canada-wide shipping, and I was like, damn, like, how'd you make that happen? He was like, we're just like, fuck it. We're just going to do it, and, like, we'll deal with it later. And I was like, fair enough. You got to do what you got to do,
It's just so silly. I just don't understand. Like, this, if it's like one of those situations where if this doesn't put it all in perspective, like, I don't know what will. Like, all of these
archaic the laws are
archaic, they're redundant, they make no sense, and like, is anybody dying because you're allowed to get a fucking bottle of whiskey with your pizza, like, or whatever, buy a 6-pack of beers that they had in the fridge, like, it's all good, you're gonna get it anyway, like, stop it, and you're still gonna get your tax. So I don't really understand. It's just like, it's like, what is that other thing you always say? It's like if
I said it's the problem and it's with companies and it's with the law, and it's always this. It's just we've always done it this way, and that's the reason why something's done. When you just like, oh, why is it? Like we have clients, even you're like, oh, why'd you do it this way? And they're like, oh, we're just always doing it that way. And it's like that's not a reason to continue doing something. Like things are meant to be. In religion, women weren't allowed to like do shit. So like obviously we changed that. So I don't know. There's things you look at things and you're like, oh, it doesn't make sense anymore for the times that we're in, and you adjust accordingly. So we need to have a lot of adjustments, just like what you're saying, like being able to have growlers and bars and all this stuff. It's like, okay, times have changed, so you have to change with them,
It's rules for the sake of having rules.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's super frustrating. It just doesn't make a lot of sense. So it's good that you guys have got that. At least it allows you to sort of keep it pushing. And like you said, if you haven't even dropped production, like that's amazing.
That's fantastic.
That's really, really cool. Have you had to furlough or lay off any staff, or has it been pretty, aside maybe
probably
taproom
staff, right? Or
so just the venue staff. Mm-hmm. So our bar manager, and then the casual staff, and then our chef as well, because we got a full kitchen in there now.
Sick.
Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
I don't think you had that last time.
When I was there, you had the meat pies, which were great. We microwaved some meat pies, and they were fantastic.
We did. We had a small little like container that we converted into a kitchen, and then it was just getting slammed. So we then put another like big 20-foot container on and built a kitchen in there, and fit it out. And that, I think we were like, sweet. So we'll spend all this money, and we'll have this kitchen paid off by maybe like July. And we did it. I think we opened it in Feb, and then this all happened. We're like, oh, well, maybe next July we paid off.
Isn't this the way, man? It's fucking crazy.
Always.
Is it like? Yeah, I mean, I guess now your expenses are lower, so hopefully, if the production you're selling beer, I guess it would equate to approximately similar revenue.
We've definitely dropped, but we haven't. Right. We're not. We're not growing and doing where we were, but we're not going extremely backwards or anything. So
that's
and
good.
We've they're opening up laws. The restrictions start opening up from June 1.
Okay.
So it goes to 20 patrons allowed.
Okay.
In a venue at any one time, but they have to be eating. Like you have to have you can't just go to a pub. They're not like pubs aren't just opening back up. So.
Okay, so it's like the restaurant license is what kicks in.
Yeah. So we are part of that, but we're not going to open up on the 1st because we had a chat with all the staff this week, and it's just not really going to work in the way the brewery operates. So, and then on the 22nd of June, it opens up to 50 patrons, and that's when we'll go back to operating in some form or another. But it's going to be completely different. Like we're probably going to have to do sittings, so it's going to be like 2-hour restaurant sittings. So we'll have like blocks. Yeah.
Is that? Did you come up with that, or is that what the government's telling you to do?
They're not telling us to do blocks, but there's all these regulations that you have to follow. Like we'll have to be taking down all contact details of everyone and stuff like that when they come in. For the whole tracing. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
what an interesting experience.
It's not going to feel like a brewery, like a standard brewery, that's for sure. It's going to be more like. We'll finally get that Michelin star.
How do you feel about all this? Is this kind of like oh, fuck, it is what it is, or is it kind of like, man, this is ruining shit, or like is it just?
It's more like for me personally, or for our business personally, it's more about us getting back those staff. So because we haven't dropped that much, because obviously takeaways have picked up and wholesale's still going quite well and stuff like that. An online store, but the main thing for us is about getting those guys back, because they're doing it tough and we want them back. They're part of the team, and obviously we can't have them there and just be paying them if there's no work for them.
Mm-hmm.
But we want to get them back. So we're looking forward to being able to just do it. And it doesn't. That's I suppose the benefit too. We don't need the venue to fire and then just start punching out, making heaps of money. If it's making enough to pay their wages and to keep the thing running, like that's more than enough for now. So.
Right. Okay, interesting. Do you have to, I saw my mate sent me a thing today, he's in San Diego, and he sent me a picture. There's like a bloke who was just at a brewery. They reopened the other day, and they all had to drink out of plastic cups. Do you have any rules around that?
They're bringing out a lot more regulations on Monday. So about what you actually have to do, but I think they were saying all paper plates and all that sort of stuff, like not any reusable sort of stuff.
So now the planet gets fucked.
Yeah.
So it's one thing.
So it's one thing or the other. Like the environment was like, oh gosh, look, all these humans aren't like destroying us now, and now they're like, all right, everything can't be recyclable now, or like nothing, or just more waste. Okay, that's interesting. I guess it is what it is. That's going to make people feel more comfortable for sure.
Yeah.
Like, of course, it'll reduce transmission in general, but in terms of just making you feel more comfortable, I wouldn't love right now using the same glass as somebody else or, same cutlery. Yeah, so I get it.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I wouldn't be cool with that. I mean, at least, look, I guess it's a good step. You feel comfortable that it's okay to open, I guess, because you guys got it a lot easier than we did.
Yeah, you had like 9,000 cases across the country or something, right?
Yeah, it definitely wasn't as bad anyway. I mean, it's still, there's going to be, I think it's going to be, people are going to be really pumped to get back out and do stuff, but there is still going to be, that part of society that goes, I don't know, I'm a little bit concerned about this, especially the older generation. That's not necessarily our direct market, so I think we'll be okay there and stuff like that. But yeah, people are going to be keen to get out and do stuff for sure.
I was watching someone in a live say, I was watching someone in a live say like how excited they were like cruises to get on a cruise, and I couldn't believe it. So I was like, if that's the case, then like the hospitality industry should be fine if people are thrilled about going on a cruise after all of what just
the problem is we're doomed.
And they're like, it's going to be great deals and all this stuff, and I was like, but yeah, it's like it's a petri dish for the virus, but sure. That's fine.
Yeah.
Because I thought buffets were done with forever. Like that's like the cruise is just like compounded. It's just no.
Yeah,
but that just shows though that there are people who are like, no worries, I'm good to go, and they're ready to get back to life. So hopefully that benefits the hospitality industry.
I thought there was going to be a ton of cruise ships on the market soon. So
let's go buy one up.
Just buy one.
Just move on that international waters, no tax, boom, good to go.
Yeah.
I was
There you
thinking,
go.
I saw this video on somewhere like Twitter or something the other day, and it was people who were, they did like a, what do you call it, like a glow in the dark liquid, and they were like, all right, so someone had it on their hands, let's turn the lights, the black lights back off, and then this person went to like a buffet and they did whatever they would normally do. Then they're like, all right, black lights on, and it was fucking everywhere. From one person who had some stuff on their hands, all over the buffet. Someone maybe shaking hands with the people, all over people's faces, all over there.
It was so gross.
Like when you actually look at it like that, made me want to throw up.
Yeah.
Like, it's gonna change. Yeah, like life is never gonna be the same. Basically,
No.
like ever.
Nah.
Yeah, left side. Yeah.
Yeah, nah. We're pretty. We've been pretty filthy for the last whatever.
Yeah.
At least 100 years.
1,000
Yeah. At least
Yeah.
since that Spanish flu and stuff, so it's kind of gross.
Yeah.
My friend Daniel just said some Vancouver breweries have already opened, which is interesting. Reopened.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
they might have got it a bit easier than us.
I think
Yeah,
Van had
well.
it better. Like, we're obviously, Quebec is like the most disastrous in Canada, so
Yeah.
it's going to take a while on this side. But yeah, I guess if like you can do it right, like in the end, people need to go back to business, right? Like, it can't be this way forever. It's just not possible. And obviously, like the vaccine conversation, I think shouldn't even be a conversation at all because
Nah.
that's just going to take forever. One and two, not everyone's going to want to take the vaccine. And if it's forced, that's a whole other issue. So I just don't think that's a conversation. It's just like, how do we up our cleanliness standards so that way we can all live freely
Yeah.
Yeah.
again.
Yeah.
And that's what it
Definitely.
is. People are, I think in the end, it's just going to make restaurants in all these places just more cleaner. Like or
Hopefully.
just cleaner. I don't know. I'm a germaphobe already, so this has already been like a whole thing for me. But like, I think, I hope it moves us in a good direction then.
Yeah.
Because then there are certain things that they were saying which was pretty like rocket science that you should have been doing anyways, you know. Like, they're like, wash your hands when you touch money and then touch the food. It's like, yeah, I would have hoped that you were already doing this already anyways. So
People
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
animals.
yeah.
No, it's beauty.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, Victoria's the last state to open up. I think restrictions. Like we've been the harshest in Australia.
Are you the largest or?
There's no, not. Population-wise, I don't
Yeah.
know.
I think it's New South Wales.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah, but all those other, like the other states, opened up their like stage 1 restrictions. I think this week just gone.
Okay.
So yeah, I think they're a few weeks ahead of us.
Okay. That's not so
Yeah.
bad. Well,
Yeah.
fuck, man, at least you can get back to it and you feel
Yeah.
okay about it and business can keep rolling, then shit. It's
Yeah.
great.
Yeah, we're gonna fill some kegs because we've got no beer in kegs. So
Right.
that's the other reason we're waiting until the 50 later in June, so we at least have some beer to pour for people. So
Which is probably not a bad idea.
yeah, we are a brewery after all.
Right?
Yeah.
It's kind of what people want.
Yeah.
He's saying group, my friend's saying in Vancouver, it's groups no larger than 6 people. So that's the way they're doing it as well. Like they have it. I've seen some people in the States just flagrantly playing golf, swimming in pools, going to bars and restaurants, like in Arizona and stuff. I'm like, y'all are fucking bonkers. Like it's.
Daniel, do they have to be like separated by an X amount of tables or something,
They
or
have
like,
to
or
be.
how they're doing it?
That's probably why there's like groups of 6.
Because even
but,
6
like,
is pretty significant.
Yeah, it's pretty.
Like here,
particularly
I
if you-
thought, or from what I've seen a lot, it's like 2. Like it's only 2 people at a table, and then they have to be separated by a table. So
Yeah.
like to do 6 people is pretty
Yeah, it's a
intense.
lot.
They're just letting 10 people be in a park together here. That
In a
are from
group.
3 different. You have to be 10 people from 3 different households at the maximum, and that's how you're allowed to group together here. So, which is just like, what are these numbers? You
Yeah,
know,
it
it's
seems
just
so
interesting.
arbitrary,
Yeah,
like,
it seems so random.
just
I'll
making
see if there's
stuff up.
science involved, but it feels kind of random.
Feels super random.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I think ours is you got to be 1 point for restaurants. Tables have to be 1.5 meters away from the next table.
Okay.
So yeah,
Still, at least you can reopen.
Yeah, it's good. Get things moving again, like get
Yeah.
towards like normalcy.
I love it.
yeah,
And I guess the staff too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Yeah. Get them back on their books.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
yeah, definitely.
I love it. Mate, I'll let you get back to it. Appreciate your time. Hang around. Can you hang around after we wrap up the podcast? Because we have to do the thumbnail whilst we're still on live. Is that a beauty?
Yeah.
Man, where can everyone check out Mr. Banks online and stare at the haze? And if you're in Australia, you can order it. And if you're not, you can just look at the pretty ass pictures.
So Instagram, Mr. Banks Beer, and then similar for Facebook's just Mr. Banks Brewing. And then if you want to order online, head to the website, just mrbanksbrewing.com.au, ship all over Australia. We don't do internationally. Occasionally.
Here and there.
And yeah, or just hit up, some of your local bottle shops because, they're a massive supporter of ours. So yeah,
Keep
support
it
them
running.
as well.
Nice.
I love it.
Awesome.
The independent ones.
The independent
Yeah.
ones, not the big guys. They don't. Do the big guys? Are you in any of those, or it's not really that kind of party?
We only supply to independent bottle shops.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't think when I first went back there, the closest place to Mum's was the Dan's, and they had some okay stuff, but I can imagine it's not like a craft heaven. A lot of the stuff is older and stuff. Like they're not.
It's a lot more now. They have I went down the street last night to get some food, and I ordered some takeaway, and there's a Dan Murphy's next to it. And whenever I do that, I'm just like, I'm gonna walk through and see what they got. And it's pretty big range now. It's like there's a lot of IPA sitting on shelves, which is terrifying.
That's the worst part.
Yeah, but range wise, which is great. It's a great sign because it means there's a lot of people buying craft beer from there, and they'll eventually find the likes of us and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we'll get the question, this place is awesome. How long have you been here before?
Right. You know
10
what? I guess you know what? It's sort of sooner than better late than never. With all of this, people are slower. One of my good friends, I don't know if you met her. Her name's Vicky in Melbourne, and she actually initially moved to Canada with us 10 years ago. She stayed a year and then went back, and she always hated craft beer, tried to get her on it, always was taking pictures with VB and Carlton Draft and stuff, and now she's with this dude. She's been with him a year, and he's a craft beer fan, so she's first day, got the Gabs tickets, fucking obsessed. And it's so sick to me because she was so staunchly anti-craft beer and made fun of me for it, and now she's on their anniversary, the picture was 8 different beers and stuff he was giving her, I think, if I'm not even mistaken.
That's so funny.
And I'm like, this is beautiful. Awesome. You know what? And I better late than never.
Yeah. What got her into it? Was it the haze?
The dude. Oh, and the guy. So the boyfriend was a beer guy. I think he took her to festivals and just showed her. I think she said she initially loved stouts and sours, so it wasn't haze, surprisingly.
Yeah.
So
that's not surprising.
No, stouts I feel are a big one for sure, and sours for the wine.
Sours
drinkers.
for the wine drinkers. I think but she was a beer drinker. She drank. Macro lagers, so that I'm surprised it wasn't craft crispies or whatever. I'm surprised that wasn't a thing. But I just think she's the perfect example of the consumer that was not even just didn't do it, but was anti craft for whatever reason. She just said she didn't like it, she just hates it. And all of a sudden, this dude she took the time, because that's all it is. I feel it's the same as anything. If it's better, it's technically and arbitrarily better. You can't really deny it. It's just better product. Same as
that's what we say, Folgers coffee, or I don't know if you guys have Folgers there.
What's that shit coffee? The white can, National Roast or something. You know that
oh yeah.
The
what is that?
Something roast.
It might be International Roast.
International Roast.
That's just the name of it. That's hilarious.
It was just
your main coffee.
The white thing. Mum and Dad used to drink it our whole lives.
So I just always say that with coffee drinkers, as soon as you go and you have craft coffee, there's just no way that you could go back to that shit coffee and think it's okay.
No.
It's you break it forever,
yeah,
right?
It's done for.
As soon as you get it, you dive in. It's not. If you like taste. There's just no way that you can go back or flavor.
That coffee. That coffee's better than Nescafe though. Nescafe
is terrible.
Yeah,
so,
man, I can't even. Are you a coffee dude? Have we talked about this?
Yeah, massive.
You're a international roast. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, so we were right.
Yeah.
Who's your favorite roaster in Melbourne?
Lately, Prodigal Roasters, which is it's a small one in Somerville.
Okay. That's where Mum goes all the time. Okay.
He used to, if she likes coffee, tell her to hit him up.
Okay.
He used to roast at this other one in Mornington called Common Folk, but then he's roasted all around the place, in America and stuff like that. We're doing a beer with him at the moment. We're getting coffee off him this week on Friday.
Hey, stout.
Or next week.
Pastry?
Yeah, it's So it's a choc vanilla coffee pastry stout. which
Well,
is it's a big one for us.
10?
It's the biggest beer. 12.5.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Glorious.
Oh, that
That'd be
sounds
about
great.
$30
That's
a can, eh?
Yeah, I actually was working out the price on it the other day, and I saw the tax. Like, I only looked at the tax amount, and I was like, oh god.
The pastry stout, like, are probably worse. Those type of, like, hype people are probably worse than the haze people. They don't give a fuck.
Ooh, I
They'll pay
love the
whatever.
pastry stouts. They're so good.
Right.
Our last one sold out really quickly online, so I think this one's going to be
Was that the
This one's-
Nutrigrain one? Or was that before that?
Nah, so the Nutrigram was the first one, and then the last one we did was called Straight to the Fudge Room, which was a
Oh, I saw
pecan
that.
vanilla chocolate.
That sounds
That was
amazing.
11.
All right, Man
11?
Flesh
Yeah.
Boogie is going to be buying that immediately.
Oh, yeah.
All right, stay tuned for that.
Yeah,
I forgot. That's sick.
So yeah, no, it should be good. The beer's tasting really good at the moment. It hasn't got the coffee, so we're
Chuck that in the
getting
end.
getting a
How do
fresh
you-
roast on Friday.
Do you just add the whole beans, crushed beans, make cold brew and chuck it in? Like, what do you do?
Yeah, so we've done a few things. This is the first time that we're going to just rack on top of the whole bean.
Okay. I heard that's the
Which
best way,
is-
by the way.
Yeah. From a lot of people I've spoken to and a lot of research, it seems to be,
The move.
for the character that we want in the beer, the best way to do it. Yeah, so you pretty much just got to have everything ready to go though, because you got to like be ready to rack off those beans.
Yeah, they
as
can't
soon
stay
as-
long,
As
right?
soon as you go, boom, that's ready. So
Yeah.
we're going to just chuck it in on Friday, and then we'll probably package straight away that next week, like Monday or
Amazing.
Tuesday.
That's dope.
Just sit on for like 2 or 3 weeks. So yeah, we've got that and the next cake eater coming out. So that'll be interesting. Cake eater's another
Yes, the double dry hopped oat cream.
oat cream double up. Yeah.
That was part of that. Are you still doing the drop thing? That was just a cool concept.
Yeah, so we did. I don't know if we could do the drop with everything that's going on
Oh.
at the moment.
Probably not. no.
But I think we'll do it again.
Okay.
Like the first two have been really well received. The second one, obviously built momentum from the first, and I do think the online store aspect of this now sort of takes away from that a little bit, because we never used to have that. But if we made that beer, which that beer was, in both the times we did it, exclusive to that drop, I think we'd still,
So kill it.
it's a lot of work that day, but but it's cool. It's good. And the two beers that we've done for it, like we've gone, all right, we pretty much make nothing on these beers. These
Right.
beers have to be they're the most like hops we put into a beer, and we use, I think we've used like on the last two is like Citra Nelson and something, and then the one before that was like Citra Galaxy, and I don't know, I can't even remember. It was, we only use the good hops.
Expensive
for those
hops.
ones. Yeah. So, but yeah, no, we'll do it again at some stage, but I don't know when.
Okay. I love the idea of it, and you're right that it's probably not the move. For those who don't know, it was basically you just pulled up in a spot, and you're like, all right, you prepay it, and we're going to be in this place at this day from this time, so just come to the van and pick it up.
Yeah,
Pretty
we
much.
took inspiration from like how some of the people in the States do the whole, we're going to be here, or they just rock up to a spot and open up the van and start selling.
Right.
But legally, we were like, shit, if we do that in Australia, we're going to be destroyed. So
Yeah.
we got around it by pre-selling, because then, as I said to you guys before, under our license, we're just delivering beer, which we're allowed to do in our license. It doesn't say where. It doesn't say where we have to deliver beer. So then, that part was all above board. But part of the whole drop thing is, on the day we have like eskies full of the beer that we package on that day. So you rock up, you grab your 4-pack or your case or whatever you've bought, and you hang out with us there, and we give you like, half a cup of beer as well.
You give them a little pour from a jockey box or
Canadian
something.
translation, an esky is a cooler.
Yes.
I just want to throw that out there for the audience. Or
For the Kiwis, it's a chili
for the North
bun.
American also.
That's the funniest one. I can't shake that cooler. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like it's still the
It's,
Esky
it's straight up. It's actually funny to me because I feel like you guys are generally more
we
literal.
there's one thing that
And
makes
then
no
that's
sense.
the time that we're being more literal because it's literally just cooling your beer or cooling
Yeah.
your items, and you guys went with esky.
I think New Zealand are the most literal. Chili bin.
Chili bin is the top for sure.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, chili beans weird.
I love
Eski's just from the brand though.
Yeah, like
Oh, it's like Kleenex.
I think
so
wasn't it
that's
called
what you guys are
Eskimo,
doing.
and they just call it Esky.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah.
That's what's happening.
Do you know what I found?
Yeah.
Like, talking to Matt, we're talking about Matt Hennessy from Collective Arts, and he says,
Yeah.
I don't think he realizes that he's speaking Australian to me too much.
John.
Sorry, my friend John.
First
He's
of all,
like,
thank you.
thank you
you,
for
Bruce
the
Morris.
thing. And yes, thank you, Bruce. You're a
Hi,
legend,
Bruce.
mate. Love and alive. You're a ledge. What was I saying about the chili bun? No, Matt was saying, he's like, oh yeah, like, all these people in hospo, they're like, and I was like, what the fuck? Hospo is hilarious.
Hospo, my God.
And
you
I
guys are
saw
out of
people
control.
joking, and I know they were joking. I'm pretty sure they were joking. They shouldn't call it quarantine. They should call it Quaro. I fucking died, bro.
You guys would. You would do that.
Australia,
That's
honestly, it
great.
never
It's
fails
amazing.
to
Yeah.
make me laugh.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, we're just lazy people, huh?
I actually couldn't
It is,
believe
we are.
that the McDonald's sign said Macca's.
On Swanston Street.
Did it for me. I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like, how did McDonald's even improve this? Like, how is
Right?
that, like, possible?
Do you know the best part about living overseas for so long? It's been 10 years this year for me, and coming back feels like I'm going into a foreign country, and I forget that these things are real. So I'm like I talk to someone, and they're talking like in a lot of the slang. Oh yeah, this bloke's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, this is funny. And then like you go, Mum always listens to 3AW, and then everyone, like the lawyers who are telling about the fucking thing from McCabe's are like, yeah, so the bloke said like, and they like, it's just as like casual. I'm like, or the Prime Minister's saying it. I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah. It's
it's
slang.
on brand.
Yeah, it's on brand.
Yeah.
At all times.
Yeah, I think when the Premier was saying, you might have seen some memes or like some things they did with it, but like the Premier, Daniel Andrews, was like, when he was saying about the lockdowns and stuff like that, he's like, you can't go and get on the beers with your mates.
I mean,
so good.
it's a valid
that's great.
sentence.
That's great.
I thought you were going to say he called it Loco or something.
Oh no, everyone's obviously calling it ISO, but yeah.
Oh my gosh! Of course, it's called ISO.
Yeah.
I really
great.
appreciate Australia in
great
these
place.
times because it's
ISO. I'm just gonna call it ISO.
it's just
from now
never
on.
not funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it takes anything that's serious out of it.
Out of
Yes.
it. Yeah,
it's
you just
like, yeah. Yeah.
you just forget, and it feels so like it's like a nice experience to be able to have grown up in it forever, and then you come out of it, and then you go back into it, and it feels weird again. So it's like
Yeah.
looking at it from an outsider. I'm like, it's genuinely strange in a cool way.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a very interesting culture, but like there's also nothing like it. Like nothing makes me laugh more than Aussie humor. It's the funniest shit ever because it's so unique and so specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. The entire country of bogans.
Pretty much, right?
Bogans. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
I
bogans.
love it. Love the
Oh,
bogans.
Bruce Morrissey says, as long as your mates live with you, then you can have the beer. So you can
There
get
you
on the
go.
beers with your mates if your mates
Yeah.
live with you. I like
True.
his thinking. Bruce is Canadian too. He gets it.
Yeah, he gets it.
He gets it.
He's Canadian American.
Oh, Johnny likes
Got the
ISO.
double going.
I reckon I like
ISO
Quoro
is
more
gold.
than
I
ISO.
love
Because
ISO.
ISO is already an
Oh, it's
existing.
already isolate. Yeah, that's
right?
true. Yeah, but
So it's like-
Quoro, you've done the
Quoro
actual,
is funnier.
Yeah, yeah. You've done the bottle.
Yeah, because
you've
it's like
added
Bodlo.
Yeah, yeah.
And there were places called Bodlo too. I remember last time. There's
Yeah,
actual.
lots of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just so funny.
yeah, definitely.
It's just like what? Okay, yeah. Why
never-
not?
it's
Why
never-
not?
Right. I guess because I'm probably more looking at it from your lens, and you're there, and I'm always sort of thinking.
I just
what
couldn't
do you
believe it
think
because
of
it's like we all speak in slang. Like we're from Toronto. Like yeah, I'm from Toronto. Even like the stuff that we say is not ever going to be actually presented on
To
an
the-
actual sign or something like that.
No.
It's between us. But I feel like in Australia, you guys were like, no, that's
Yeah,
that's it. Have your premiers speaking that way? Like yeah, Justin Trudeau's never gonna talk like that to us. You know,
He's
like,
not going to bust out. Like,
he's
I
not
can't even
busting
think
out
of an
Toronto
example.
slang, yeah.
Yeah.
he's never gonna say fam to us. Like that for sure is
Fam
never
Steve
happening.
Hondo, eh? Yeah, it's a whole other.
Yeah.
Great world,
Yeah,
great,
but,
great
Good times.
place, great place.
I like it.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful time. Are you? What's your plans for like the weekend and what's moving up? Like, what do people got to look forward to aside from like, is there anything like immediate for
Release?
people? What? Yeah, because we have the audio for this will come out on Wednesday, but the video will be up like from now, like whatever. So if anyone sees this, is there stuff that people can like be in the coming weeks?
We've got heaps of new beers like every week pretty much. We've got a new beer coming out at the moment. So
Sick.
beer wise, we have one of those weird clear beers coming out this Friday.
Yeah. What is it?
Clear.
Thursday.
What style?
West Coast IPA.
What? Oh.
A West Coast double IPA.
Wow.
Yeah, we're just thought, we had to make it because it's a dying trend. So
you're gonna bring it back.
Yeah, we'll just make one for the purists out
You're
there.
upsetting so many people.
You're right.
It's tasting really good, actually. I drank it the other day. I was like, oh, maybe I do like West Coast IPAs.
See?
And then the week after, we've got the next cake eater and that pastry stout.
The coffee
which
one?
is called Relax. I'm a regular here.
Nice.
Nice.
That's a good name.
And then what else? Yeah, we've got a bunch of stuff. We got another
never
pastry
stopping.
sour on the way and stuff like that. So
You wilding
Yeah.
out. Have you done smoothie beers before? Like those crazy, like really thick smoothies?
we've done fruited like milkshake IPAs.
Okay.
Not crazy. We were talking about it yesterday. Two things that we're probably gonna look at doing just on the other side of winter is I reckon we're gonna have another crack at milkshake IPAs
Yeah, man, do it.
and also at sour IPAs. I've been doing a lot of research into how to possibly make a good one. 'Cause
Okay.
I've had some really bad ones.
The hit or miss.
Yeah, so I think we're going to play around with some of that sort of stuff. And one thing that we've been doing with not just the hoppy beers, obviously the hobby beers are, we're putting a lot more hops into them than we ever used to, like a year ago. We're sort of taking that approach with everything now. So, if we're putting vanilla in a beer, we're not using vanilla extract. We're using vanilla bean, and then like that pastry stout that's coming out in 2 weeks has, I think we put like 4 kilos of vanilla bean in the other day, and we tasted it and I'm like, yeah, it's there, but it's not enough. So we're going to put like another 4 in like next week. And like vanilla beans, really expensive.
Really expensive.
Yeah. But I think that's the difference with those beers though, personally. And especially like, the ones in the States, they seem to do all that.
Yeah.
Obviously, they don't have that tax bracket, but then, so we're sort of just putting more of that stuff in. That's why I think we could maybe have a good crack at some more milkshake IPAs and stuff, because I think what we would put into it would give a far better product than what we may have previously done on that scale. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's a good point. As soon as you said it, I'm like, yeah, you could murder that. You could definitely do. Did you? I guess you probably didn't get. Have you tried like the fire ones? Did you ever like get any when you're in the States or whatever? I
haven't had like tied hands or anything like that.
Okay.
But yeah, I've had some really good ones, and that's one of the things. Like when you were asking before about were Great Notion good?
Yeah.
Like they were really good, and I think something that we took out of that we've started trying to do is they had a lot of like the I don't know if they called them this, but what we're calling like pastry sours.
Okay.
So
which is a what?
It's like a lactose sour with fruit and then other adjuncts.
Okay.
As well, and then they also had them with coffee as well. And they were like, I think they called one of them like it was like blueberry breakfast sour pancake or something like that was the name. And it just got
Crazy.
so much. It's like a milkshake IPA, but it's a sour, and then it's got other stuff as well. So when they were really cool and interesting. So we've sort of been mucking around a little bit with some of that sort of stuff, and we had one out a couple of weeks ago, which was called Fruity Bix, which had blackberry, raspberry, strawberry, blueberry, vanilla, maple syrup, coconut.
Jeez.
That's amazing.
And something else, and lactose.
And like,
Of course.
Hashtag team lactose
Yeah.
all day.
Yeah. And that was really good, but it was really nice, and all the flavors worked really well. And the best thing about that beer was it changed over the course of you drinking that can. Like it's a 500ml can, and at the start you just get all fruit up front, and then you let that warm up even the slightest bit, and you're like, ooh, I do get vanilla. And then if you let it warm up a little bit more, like the maple syrup really came through with the vanilla, and it almost was like drinking 2 different beers over one sitting, which was really cool.
Dope.
But brewing that one, which we started off with like our parfait series, where we were just doing like fruit and lactose and occasionally vanilla and stuff. Doing that, and then that Fruity Bix we're brewing one. We've got one in tank at the moment, souring over the weekend. That is going to be like an onslaught of flavors.
Yeah.
compared to the others, because we're just going a lot more of everything.
Okay.
So.
And that's really what you found is the secret then, is just go balls to the wall. If you're going to put it in, you got to go hard.
I just think it's like, I think there's like two ways to sort of do it best. You either go for that more drinkable, lighter, that, as we were talking about before, the 3.8, 4%, like really crushable sort of hot climate sort of beer that you can go, oh yeah, that's a fruited sour that I can taste mango in, which we still have. Or you go that further away, because otherwise, everyone's going to be like, oh yeah, it's nice and I taste those flavors, but would have been nice if there was more of this in there. So we're just going to put more of it in there.
There you go.
Why not, right?
Yeah.
When we went to last summer, we went to Tired Hands, and we went to the Vale. I think I was texting you from there too. The Vale had, like, they had the slushy beers and stuff, and I'd had them before in Detroit, but like they were super interesting. But the one that was tripper, they had this one called a Nevermore, like after the Edgar Allan Poe poem, and it was Nevermore cubed. So this was the third craziest one, and it was like, I think it was blackberries, and I barely poured out of the can. It was the thickest beer I've ever had. I actually gave one to my brother, and he told me he like drained half of it. I was so mad at him because I actually paid for it and brought it back. Oh, you fucking prick. But like, it was it was so intense. So I just feel like, whilst it was ridiculous, and it was a goza, they called it too. Like, you could not taste any salt in the damn thing. But like, I appreciated if I'm gonna go and you're gonna get one of those beers, like, go hard or go home. And I just thought that was super interesting. And I would drink. I think about it kind of regularly. That beer, I'm like, fuck, I wouldn't mind that again.
Was that one of the beers that? Oh no, I think they have a pasteurizer now, or something. Because when I think originally they were putting on their cans like, must be kept cold.
I think they did say that.
May explode.
Oh
wow.
Okay.
Because it re-ferments, because it's
fruits
something
that
yeah. So they rack. I think they do, like, normally, like when we add fruit to a beer, so we don't have to go through that. We'll add the fruit while it's fermenting, so then all the sugars ferment out, and you're just left over with like flavour and character.
Right.
But to get the beers like what they're doing that look like that and that are like in your face fruit, you have to either kill off the yeast that's left in the beer, so it can't eat the sugars by pasteurizing it, or you need to ferment it out. So I was listening to a podcast with Matt from the Vale, and I think he was talking about that they now have a pasteurizer, so they'd be able to do that and package it.
Cool.
I don't know what they did. This was July last year, and we had to I don't know if you've ever been down there. We hadn't, that area really, and it was disgusting hot. We were just in Jamaica the week before that, and we went down there, and we drove all the way down from Montreal too, and it was the hottest I've ever been ever. It was so ridiculous. Yeah. So we did like all up was like an 8 or 9 day trip. So we went to Tired Hands first, and we had to do a tourism thing. So we went to a bunch of spots in Virginia, and then Richmond was like our second stop. So that's when I grabbed them. And then we were every hotel we were going to, but some days we were just in the car. Like, if we were traveling, when we left Virginia, we're going back to DC and then back up. Like, maybe they'd be in the car. It was hot as shit all day, and I had nowhere else to put them.
Yeah,
like,
so
we had
I'm sure
a little
the heat affected it in some way.
Yeah, but nothing exploded. But like, maybe they weren't as on point, because I
for sure they can't
probably bought more than they should have. What are you gonna do, right? You're down there, you're like, fuck. It's like bucket list stuff.
Yeah,
but it makes sense.
Yeah, we want to. I really want to try and do it. Like, do the whole onto fruit. Like, obviously, we're not buying a pasteurizer.
No.
Like, we don't. We're not that size of brew. But I really want to do it and just sell it all in house. I think once we get back to kegs, we probably can, because then we can specifically give it to venues that we know are 100% going to cold store, and then so we can have those insanely fruited beers. But
that's good.
That retain all that character. I had one 2 weeks ago. It was an Omnipolo beer. It was the peanut. It was like the peanut butter something lassi goza.
Oh, peanut butter. I've had the mango one of that, but I haven't had the peanut butter one.
What was it? It was.
Was it good?
I had a caterpillar. I mean, there's caterpillars
Oh, gosh.
everywhere at my house at the
Really?
moment.
That's
Yeah.
horrifying to me.
It's-
Sorry.
It's so. It's like one of those Spitfire ones.
Oh,
It's
I
they're literally everywhere.
I hate those fucking things. Have you
Yeah,
seen
they're
them? They actually spit at you.
No.
Caterpillars that spit at you.
I don't want to see that.
To survive Australia, you got to be a real mad
Yeah,
dog.
that's the type of stuff that
Just to
turns
not
me
die
right off.
there.
Yeah, it's awful.
It's pretty
The
serious.
amount of snakes I have in my backyard. It's just
Ridiculous.
Horrifying.
Steve Irwin, every day, just catching them.
I'm trying to find.
The
I've
thing?
Oh no, I have a photo of the beer. I don't have what the name is, but yeah, it was like it was. I think it was 1%, 1.7%.
What?
What do you mean?
Yeah, like
Alcohol?
the alcohol.
ABV?
Yeah,
Oh, that's
Oh.
yeah.
okay.
It was the strangest. I've never had a beer like it.
That just sounds like, what is...
I'm the poly with the
That's so
zaniest
strange, yeah.
fucking.
They're having a
brewery
good
of all
time.
Yeah, man.
Bruce says
Yeah.
maple syrup in beer, is that a Commonwealth thing?
Yeah.
I think so.
I wonder if someone's saying is maple syrup in beer a Commonwealth thing? Maybe like I don't know. I just thought it was like
I really just thought it was a Canadian
I just
thing, to
feel
be
like
honest,
it's a
if it was
Canadian
us.
thing, and also that you're just putting fun stuff in beer thing.
Yeah, it's definitely not a Commonwealth thing
Yeah.
because it's way too expensive.
To be just doing
down
that.
here.
Yeah, right.
And like to get the character, it's kind of
You need
maple
the-
syrup similar to the fruit, like I was saying, because it's like
Ferments
pretty
out,
much
right?
almost 100% fermentable.
Yeah, it's just all sugars.
You need to use so much to get any flavor, and like insanely expensive. Like I was buying 20-liter drums of it, and it's like I think it was $400 and something for 20 liters.
That's insane.
Yeah,
That's
so I think
crazy.
it'd probably be a lot cheaper and easier to use in Canada. So
Yeah.
because ours was Canadian.
Canadian
maple.
maple syrup
Ah,
going to
nice.
come all the way down. I think what they do though, because Vermont's basically like mini Canada in the sense they have a lot of the same things. All the maple trees is a big thing there. So I've been talking to people down there last time we were there, and they were saying basically they tend to use maple sap, not the sugar, because the sap isn't all sugar, but it also doesn't give you. I think it's like a consistency thing, and it doesn't give you the fermentable. So I think I've actually got a weird beer in my fridge that I don't want to drink yet because of the start. It's a Scotch ale, which I'm not interested in, but they use these mushrooms that make them taste like maple. These
Interesting.
Yeah, right.
weird ass mushrooms. So I want to hate mushrooms, and I don't like Scotch ales, but I am very curious about maple tasting beer from
mushroom.
that, right?
Yeah.
Like it's kind of interesting way to do it.
Yeah.
Someone saying here, I had the other half and the Veil collab, berry compote that was thick as hell, sour Berliner. That would have been pretty intense. Probably a very similar thing. A compote is probably what it sounds like. It's basically like jam in a can.
Yeah, and that's I suppose what that whole pastry sour thing
Is,
we're-
right?
Yeah, that's what we're calling it anyway.
I
All
like
that
it.
marketing, you know.
Yeah, right?
It is. 100%.
Hey, man.
Nah, but yeah, and that was probably the biggest thing we got out of that last trip over to America. As
Okay.
I said to you, that IPA, like the beers were least impressive,
Yeah.
but the things that did stand out were those sort of sours. They seem to be kind of everywhere.
At least you got something fire out of it. I still reckon, I mean, like, I know everything's changed now. It's going to be pushed, but I think you were thinking this year, the East Coast, right? But I guess that's out the window.
Yeah, that's out the window. And we also had, the worst thing was we were all going to that Harpy Festival.
Which
So
one?
I was like, oh, we're not going to go to the States, but we'll get to go to Harpy, which was that thing that I sent you the brewery list of in New Zealand.
Oh, yeah, that was crazy. That was, like,
Yeah.
better than festivals we get here. Like, it was
Yeah, it was
amazing.
insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
so we had everything booked to go to that, and then it got, obviously no one was able to come, so that sucks. But
I
Yeah,
mean,
those are done for a while.
it does suck for all of those things, but I mean, it'd be still cool if there was a way for people to still get, like for example,
beers, yeah.
those beers, like for the way that you were just like, all right, let's do the Superfly. I thought that was super sick that you did that collab anyway. You just executed it. You're like, well, all right, well, I can do one this end that we were going to do anyway, and you pop that out, and that still gives people a taste.
The festival should have done something where they like provided like cans of the
Yeah.
beers that you might have been able to get during the festival or something like that.
If,
So it's like, say you were gonna pay $50 for a ticket. Well, ours is like $100, all you can drink or something like that, or $120, and then you would get a bunch of beers maybe that would have been like featured or something
Yeah,
like
Garage
that.
Projects
That would have been
Festival.
cool.
Yes, that would have been dope. I mean, I know there's clearly there's a lot more to it than just saying, yeah, man, send the beers. Let
Oh
people
no,
know.
like if they could find some fun way
You know.
to like can them
Yeah.
into something around
Or
it,
do, like,
license it
the
through a
licensing.
brewery, something
Yeah,
like that.
I don't
do
know. I
something
mean,
interesting.
it's not optimal.
Because obviously no one's going to be in person at a festival for a very long time.
No, man, and like
Yeah.
no one's gonna feel comfortable going to a festival for a while. No one wants to be rubbing shoulders with people and sharing spit.
Also, it's just like the whole thing is taking cups and pushing them under the same exact faucet. That open
yeah, and just sharing, everyone touching,
It's the
touching
same
all day
glass
long.
and touching. It's like, yeah, it's a
You think about how gross that is. It's like,
Yeah.
oh fuck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's a surprise we didn't have a pandemic before this.
It was only a
Yeah,
matter of time.
seriously.
It's like genuinely a miracle, particularly in
matter
this
of
type
time.
of things.
Yeah,
So it does suck. The future of beer festivals is quite.
it's in the air for a while.
Yeah, I can't. I don't even know what the answer is. I don't really think there is.
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know.
Yeah.
That's why I think everyone's just releasing multiple beers.
Makes sense.
And it's just, everyone's just, I don't know. It's not just us that are doing new beers every other week. Everyone's doing it, and you know, down here anyway. And yeah, everyone's, I think, either selling out or still doing quite well with them. So
Great. Well, that's good.
hopefully, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good sign because it was, we were saying earlier about people's disposable income. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to want to buy, these type of beers that are expensive and essentially a luxury? But the answer is overwhelmingly yes. I saw a bloke in the States who was a beer writer, and he said, I don't know, I think this was qualitative feedback he just got from talking to people, but he said that brewers are saying people want, and this is probably a good thing for you to talk on, people want lower priced, lower ABV, reliable crusher beers as opposed to high ABV pastry stouts and the big haze and things like that. Like, that's what the typical, this is a guy in Chicago. That's what the drinkers are moving towards, because if there's a time of uncertainty, they want some sort of something to be sure about, and when they can be sure about, like, well, I know this beer makes a great pilsner and a great pale ale that I can just it's $3.50 a can. I can get a case of those too, and I'm good for a month. Like, have you seen anything like that, or is it just not even the Mr. Banks model to even?
No, it's not our model. Our model is pretty open-ended. Like, we'll change with the times as we need to.
Right.
And do things we want to do. But I think it's actually probably the opposite here at the moment, because we released it, since this has all happened. I think we've had 2 or 3 double IPAs that have all sold out within a weekend, and then like we release, that DDH all day was a 6.7% IPA that we did on its own, and that we still got that. That was 2 weeks ago or a week and a half ago, and we've still got that around. So the bigger ones for us personally are where it's at, and like as I said, the pastry stout last time sold out quick. I think that one next week will sell out really quick. The guys at Range are the same. Like, all their beers they put up, the higher ABV, bigger ones are selling out way quicker. And the last ones left are, they're like DDH pails and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's I don't know. I also was talking to someone the other day, and he's one of the works for one of the malt companies that we buy malt off, and he's like, where I think, yes, people are either the people that aren't getting paid obviously are struggling, but there's obviously also the job seeker and job keeper, and it's not like you can go out and spend your money on anything else. True. I think the bigger purchases, like I think the things where it's really going to sort of play into is things like renovations on houses and buying new cars or new houses and stuff like that. That's the sort of expenses that personally that I think are going to take a hit within the next couple of months. Whereas it's not like if you can't go on a holiday or you can't go and do this renovation, and you're going to go, okay, we'll just sit on that for a little bit and see what happens. But you're not going to go, oh, well, we're also saving for that renovation, so I'm going to now buy 1 beer a week instead. You're going to be like, well, we're saving this money, we're trying to do this other stuff, we're not going to go out. Going out's expensive.
Yeah.
Like, even the guy I was talking to, he was like, the amount of money I'm saving in travel for work, and then he's like, I buy my lunch every day at work. He's like, me and my wife are saving $200 a week each.
Right. That's crazy.
like in travel and food expenses.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
There's an extra $400 a week that they've got in their pocket.
Right.
Like, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
So things like that. I think the smaller luxuries, especially if lockdowns continue or people aren't comfortable, like what else can you enjoy in life? Like, you want to enjoy some fine food and wine and beer and stuff like that, because otherwise,
What else we just get crazy?
Great point. That's the only thing you have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and even to the fact of shops, like I need a new pair of jeans so bad, and I'm so sick of buying online jeans that don't fit me well.
Right.
So I'm just wearing my same jeans at the moment, but I'm saving that money because I'm not going out and shopping, and I'm
Right.
like, well, I'm gonna have a nice bottle of wine instead tonight or something.
There you go.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
That's a really good point. It's essentially keeping people sane as part of those little, like, you're right, those little luxuries mean way more now than they've ever meant.
Yeah.
yeah. Otherwise, people are going to be like, people are going to be so depressed. Like, if you're just like, I'm not going to go on that holiday, or I'm not going to do that renovation that we've been saving up for so long because I don't know what's going to happen, and I'm also not going to enjoy myself in the time that I have to stay at home. It's like,
What do you have? Yeah.
Man, how many people are going to be? Yeah.
Yeah, losing their minds.
All right. I like that.
Man's here saying, Manflesh Boogie saying, have to say 2020 has been great for beer in Australia, which is dope. He said Innocence for Days was a good low ABV crusher. Is that yours?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a hazy pale we did.
That was
Nice.
killer.
Yeah, it was nice.
And he also said Ranger's birthday beer sold out in 5 minutes. Is that what you were talking about earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was
That's
killing it.
crazy.
No, that's a really good point. You're right, because this was when we first started this. All of these, like I said, this is the 8th episode of this sort of series of in Skype stuff and doing shit from home. It's we were like, I wonder what's going to happen, and we would have predicted that people wouldn't have, but I think you just not nailed exactly why. That's why it's not
the only luxury.
It's
you
the
have
only
left.
luxury we have left. No one's going out. No one's buying. Like, we bought some. They had Adidas had a sale finally. We wanted the Adidas tracksuit for forever, but they're like $200 each, and they had like a 40% off sale. So we finally got that the other week. But it might have to send it back because I don't know what fucking size we are. I don't know.
We're like,
We just had to,
sure.
we had to wing it. So
Yeah.
we might have to just be like, oh, you're going to change that out. But that was like the only thing that we bought ourselves that wasn't, like, we bought a soda
We're saving
stream.
so much money though. Yeah, we're saving so much
Yeah.
money. Even then, buying the soda stream because
Was
we
like
didn't want to go out and buy the
$70,
boxes of San
$80 or something?
Pellegrino anymore because we want to reduce the amount of times that we go to the
Yeah.
grocery store. So we bought the soda stream, and that's also saving
Oh,
us so much money. There you go.
boom, there we go.
I'm like, this is life changing. This soda stream. It's the best thing.
It's the best $70 you ever
Oh my
spent.
gosh,
Right.
without question.
Yeah.
Do you know what's even sicker? The first canister, so we bought that comes with it, and then we bought a second one. It went in like 2 weeks, and we only used it like once a day. And everyone said, my friend said it lasts 1 to 3 months. I'm like, this is not right. So I hit him up. They sent me to a customer service guy. He calls me up. He talks me through it. He's like, yeah, I think it just sort of went early. Maybe it was half full or something like that. And they just sent us a brand new one within like 2 days.
Oh.
So now we have 3 canisters,
great.
and you just swap them
Yeah,
out.
great customer
And I'm like,
service.
already, not only has it saved us money, and like we don't have a car, so lugging a case, like 12 glass bottles of San Pellegrino every other week is really annoying. Particularly in the snow when it's minus
It's annoying,
30 and
it's
they're
wasteful
like,
as well, and then
and
it's
now you
just
get this.
inconvenient with
But-
the world. So
so now it's like those sorts of luxuries are the only things we've indulged in, and now we're like, instead of going up the road to buy the coffee, I've just been ordering online from different cafes. Like one up here today, I ordered because they got. I don't. You went to San Francisco, right? When you were there last?
Yeah.
Did you go to Ritual? Did you hear of Ritual Cafe?
Yeah.
So we happened to stay in the Mission right around the corner from one. So we went there every day, and I bought back some of the beans, and they were fire. And this cafe here got some. I'm like, boom, paid out the ass. It wasn't that bad. It was only like $4 or $5 more than like a normal one. But like stuff like that, just these small luxuries. I'm just like, normally I don't know if I would have done that, but I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
why not? Because that's all you got. You're right. That's a really, really, really good point. I love that.
Yeah, and I think in the last, like, I heard a statistic the other week that in the last 2 like recessions, and this might just be Australia only, but in like the last 2 recessions, the things that have gone up is alcohol and cigarettes, and the price of cigarettes, I don't think that's going to go up. So it's just ridiculous.
Right.
yeah.
But yeah, I think that just plays into that whole thing. Like,
Makes
there's no
sense.
point sitting around being depressed, just trying to save money.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
You're already
Like, what's the
saving by
point?
default.
You're automatically
Well, you
saving.
still got-
Yeah.
yeah, you got to live.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to.
That's part of life.
Right?
Yeah.
And I think there's also, it's that for sure. And I think there's also, like, if you're already a beer person and you're drinking this type of stuff, there's an inherent need to be like, well, when this all clears up, and everything will clear up eventually, we want those businesses to still exist. So you kind of feel like, even if it's in a small way, like maybe I'd buy 12 beers a week, but I'll just buy a 4-pack a week if you can't afford, just to, give them something to keep the shit going, Like, I think there's also a lot of that. People, particularly local, it went from maybe a global's not the right word, but like maybe
like nationwide.
Yeah, nationwide. Maybe if you're in Melbourne or in Victoria, you want to support a Victorian brewery or a Melbourne brewery or something like that. Not for any other reason, but just like, I don't know. I want to keep going to Mr. Banks once this is over. I want this shit to still stay open. So like maybe I would have bought from that, but I'm gonna make order something from Sydney or from somewhere else. But I'm gonna make sure I spend a little extra there because that's my backyard, and I want them to keep kicking on.
Yeah, which is exactly what one of our stockists. I was out doing a few deliveries the other week, and I was like, "Yeah, you guys are ordering a lot lately." He's like, "Yeah, I've stopped ordering from internationals at the moment." He's like, "I'm just supporting everyone in Australia at the moment, and especially like hyper local." And I was like, "Man, that's good.
That's
so good
cool." Yeah, man. I never thought about that too. That's great because we don't have that like freedom of choice here, so there's not really like and the way even between Ontario and Quebec, we don't, the way that it works here is not even, you can't get stuff even if you want to, so there's not that. But because they do have the choice and they made that choice, it makes it even more like meaningful. That's really
it's
cool.
very cool. That's very good.
And, and I guess everyone who wasn't canning, like Merrick at the mill wasn't canning, now he's canning. So there's breweries that before didn't have he did the juice beer or whatever, but like typically he wasn't trying to can. It wasn't that model. So now everyone's moving into that, and I think that's it gives them more options because every brewery that was just a brew pub are now going to be having cans to sell. So it gives them more to support, which is dope too. Yeah. And it gives people more to support. Now they're like, all right, well fuck, I had to go to the mill before. Like at least you could get your shit everywhere. But then now like be like, all right, cool, let me get some of them, get some of this guy, all your faves and stuff. It's very cool.
And that's probably the good thing that's going to come out of this. Like people like Merrick and stuff like that. He has canned small amounts, but probably not as much as he is now. And then hopefully, when things get back to normal, that's just another avenue for him or like people like him that they continue doing. Because the biggest pain in the ass with half of that stuff is like the initial cost setup and doing all that stuff. But once you actually take the plunge and know where the costing is and do that, then like it makes it a lot easier. So hopefully this has forced people to do stuff like that, and then their businesses are going to be better off in the long run after it.
What's the if is everyone buying canning machines, or is there like a mobile canning company that comes around and does it like?
The mobile guys are pretty busy. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
I don't think there's any Australian companies that make canning machines. So that's the biggest pain in the ass. Like even if you want one, you're 3 months wait.
Here.
Yeah, 3 or 4 month wait sort of thing. So, I mean, if you have one already, you're doing a lot better than some. So we were pretty lucky that we'd had our own for a few years. So.
And you upgraded recently too, right?
Yeah, we got a new one just over a year ago.
Oh, okay. It wasn't that long ago. I remember you telling me and you explaining that it was like way bigger, lets you do it a bit faster and.
Oh yeah, like our old one was. So our old one was a Canadian. It was a cask.
Okay.
And it was like we bought that on like our setup, so our original setup. So I think we do like our biggest canning day that we used to be able to do on that thing was like maybe like 110 cases in a day, and that's like a full eight hours of canning, 8 or 9 hours of canning.
Jeez.
And now like if we do 8 or 9 hours of canning, we'll can like 600 to 700 cases.
Wow.
Right. So it's significantly.
Yeah. So it's a big expense, but it's already paid itself off.
Yeah.
So
of course.
It's an investment, not an expense.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. It's good.
And I guess
it's
like
really
you said, particularly for now, like.
Yeah. It's good for the canning guys, though.
Yeah.
You just
I love
become
that.
high demand all of a sudden, so that's fantastic. Good for them.
Yeah, and they already were, and now it's just
like
even more.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but Yeah, and I think more people will definitely buy packaging equipment.
They have
Like
to.
canning is an absolute pain in the ass in every aspect. Like it's just, and then like labelers. Like if your canning machine's running awesome, your labelers, you're guaranteed that your labeler is going to be fucking you up. And if your labeler's running awesome, your canning machine's going to have a problem. Like
Right.
it's
That's how it
just
goes.
like the law of averages. It just nothing ever runs smoothly.
Yeah.
Right.
So like as soon as we start canning and one of the boys go, oh man, everything's running so well. I'm like, oh,
Fuck you
did
say that.
And then literally something will stuff up within the next hour.
There
It's
you
like,
go.
Here we
God
go.
damn it, Steve! I told you to shut the fuck up.
Which is why we generally now don't do can releases on the same day that we're packaging.
Makes
We always
sense.
make it the day after.
Just in case for
Something
contingencies.
well,
messes up.
Yeah, because we might be like, okay, cans are available from 12. And then at 12, we've only got like half done. And it's like, oh shit.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
that's
yeah.
smart.
That is so hectic. I never heard that before. I mean, I knew they mess up and stuff, but like not that bad. That's hilarious.
there's just so many little parts with all of it.
Yeah.
Like even like the labelers should be a lot more simpler than they are, but they just like, I don't know. It's
Overcomplicated.
packaging beer. The benefits of kegs on that aspect outweighs it 10 times.
Right.
But I mean, it's a fine art packaging beer, I think.
Yeah.
And I think it's something that everyone is still working on, and us included.
Yeah.
Trying to dial in little things to get better shelf stability and stuff like that. But from what we've seen, with our stuff holding up pretty good. So
That's good. Yeah, because that's the one thing I've noticed a lot of, particularly for breweries who use a mobile canner who haven't sort of maybe always dialed it in or whatever. There's like this oxidization, of course, and things like that.
Yeah.
They come through, which is
And
a real
it's-
shame.
yeah, and it's beer specific too, which is the
That's
problem.
true.
Like you got to know, like we can package, like if you package a pilsner and then you package like a hazy IPA or something, they're completely different settings
Right.
for the machine, like pressures and timing and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, it's like every beer, we've got a spreadsheet of what every beer is, like their settings they need to be canned on, and like once you find that, it's a lot easier to dial it in at the start. But otherwise, if you don't have that, and that's why I reckon, like, we've never used mobile canning, but I could imagine the wastage at the start of a run on a mobile canning machine is just ginormous.
Right.
Because they're just going into a different brewery that carbonates a beer to a different volume to what this one does, and there'd be so much stuffing around at the start, I assume. But yeah.
I imagine it's like even more for like a brewery like say the mill that I can just think of, like it's not huge. Those tanks aren't massive. Like he got more in, I think, but like that would be very frustrating because if you lost a chunk of that, that's just like the money that's going to pay for that beer down the fucking drain. Like that's
Exactly. Yeah. That would be pretty heartbreaking.
Yeah, man, it's rough. Like, you guys are soldiers, man. Like the shit you go through to get people drunk, it's appreciated.
It is. It is.
Yeah, we're doing God's work.
You really are. You really are.
That's the episode name, Doing God's
Oh,
Work.
I'm gonna write that right
There
now.
you go.
Doing God. I like that. I wonder if we'll get some religious people.
The last
Jumping.
episode was called 666.667 Ale Satan, so I think we're
Oh boy.
So we did. Oh,
I think the
have you heard
God
of-
people
do you know
already
what?
left the chat on
I
this
met
one.
this dude after I came there. So have you heard of a band called Cryptopsy from Canada? They're like death metal from Montreal.
Nah, I did listen to a little bit of your talk that you launched the other day. So
Okay.
yeah, I haven't listened to it all, but
So
yeah.
he's a great dude. He's a singer in that band, Scream, whatever you call it, and he has a podcast and he's interviewing mostly metal dudes and is moving more into. It's mostly a beer podcast. Well, beer, but drinking a beer and then talking to metal musicians because he's already similar to what you had the band. Like people love this dude. Anyway, people love him, and he did. I just did like saying like I'm almost at 6,000 beers or whatever, and over the years, and he just calculated it. The average was 666.667 beers, which was just very convenient because it was an episode
He lost his
about
mind.
metal,
He loved that.
which is very very funny. Sam Smalley is saying, I've been buying merch on top of beers from my favorite breweries, just trying to help them out a little more. Currently sipping coffee from my Drink Banks cup.
There you go.
Hey, look at that.
What a guy.
On you, Sam, you legend. Bloody champion. No, that's sick.
that.
I like that too. I think that was one thing we were talking about earlier.
And then we
wasn't
did
it?
like a whole thing originally when shit started hitting the fan about how to support your favorite local brewery, and merch was a big one of it. So
Yeah, well,
just
today is actually in Australia, they've done a massive push. Like Crafty Pint has done it for it's merch, International Merch Swag Day, I think.
Oh, okay, nice. Just get
We,
everyone
we
encouraged.
were really bad at that stuff, and I was supposed to be adding something. Where is it?
I thought your merch game was strong.
No, our merch game's okay, except it's always out of stock. But our doing the posts that we're supposed to do for things that we're involved in and stuff. Yeah. So it's hashtag beer swag day.
Okay.
So they took it from. Do you know how like Triple J do the like they do band T-shirt? They do like a band T-shirt day in Australia.
Oh yeah.
It's like support your local band.
That's
sick.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
It's the same thing like that, but yeah, it's exactly the same to help. It's to help all the breweries out there. Yeah, if you got like merch is expensive. Like we just did an order this week, and it's like so expensive for merch.
Yeah.
And normally most smart businesses would have done an order for beer merch before hashtag beer swag day.
Right.
We're not most businesses, so we wait until it's over,
Of course.
and then we put our order in.
Right.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
You got pastry stouts to make, you know. Sometimes that comes before the merch. That's all I'm saying.
Exactly.
That coffee.
Pay for that vanilla.
Right? It's, you know, Madagascar comes from a long way, bro. It's not a joke out here.
We can't. Yeah, we can barely get Madagascan because of that. Do you know the price of Madagascan vanilla?
No. What is it?
So to get it in Australia from our supplier was $1,058 per kilo.
Oh my god! And you said you put 4 kilo and you're adding another 4 kilo.
No. So we don't use.
You're not Madagascar.
We don't use Madagascan.
I can see why.
If anyone out there has a cheaper supply of Madagascan, let me know.
Give me a shout.
I really want to use it. So we use Tahitian.
Okay, close enough. Whatever.
Yeah, which is it's really good.
Yeah.
It's and it's still expensive. It's about half that price.
That's a lot, bro.
No, it's a bit more than half that price, but yeah, it's still really expensive.
Yeah.
But it's it's definitely not Madagascan.
No, fucking hell! I knew vanilla was expensive. I didn't know it was like that expensive.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that expensive in the States. As expensive.
No.
But,
but it's expensive, but I don't think it's that expensive.
Just in general, yeah, vanilla's expensive.
It's way too common for it to be that expensive.
Yeah.
Like there's no chance that it would be. I just noticed that this camera battery is flashing. It's not going to cut it off, but I don't want it to switch to the other camera before we get a thumbnail. So let's just get the thumbnail real quick and hold that. So what we just got to do, just do a hold. It is kind of annoying that I got to do it this way because.
So when you end the live, you can't keep it up like that, eh?
No.
Oh.
The problem with the live. Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. Wait, this way. Okay, ready, Chris?
Yep.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. Bam. Got it. I just want to make sure I get it because it looks much nicer when it's all in there. Beautiful.
Awesome.
All right, we'll wrap up the podcast part now. Then we can chat for a second on the live. But did we do the social media where you can get everything? I guess that was like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah. We did it.
We did it? Okay.
Yeah.
So check out Mr. Banks. Make sure you get your orders in. If you're in Melbourne or anywhere in Australia, make sure you order, support. Like Sam said, buy anything you can from your local breweries, whether it's merch, anything like that. Get some of the Drink Banks coffee cups because, you know, it's a camping cup, but you can drink it at home. It works perfectly if you're at home. Let them know, you know, it's, look at it. Look at that. Slick. Oh, you can get it's like the aromas. I get them from here. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. Delicious, this coffee. So
right?
good.
I love it. All right, I'll wrap. Now, what do I have to do for the podcast? I always forget. Okay, guys, I always forget. There's just so many fucking things right now.
There's a lot of
it's out of control.
instructions.
All right, what do I do? All right, guys, thank you so much for watching and listening. Fuck, what do I say? Oh, follow us on no.
Wouldn't you say if you enjoyed this
There's
episode?
if you enjoyed the episode, smash the thumbs up, hit subscribe below, hit the notification bell
Ding.
so you know when the new drops. Follow us on social media at BAOS Podcast. Check out the long form audio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, not Diesel, what's the other joints? I put them all up the other day. I got them all. It's a whole bunch.
Spreaker,
Stitcher, fucking
all
Google
of
Podcasts, all of
all
that.
the
Check it
streamers.
out. You hear and watch very attractive gentlemen like Uncle Chris talk about beer and gorgeous coffee cups. Chuck us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts if you can. Helps a ton.
And subscribe on YouTube for all fantastic craft beer content.
So much. It's
So
amazing.
much.
Look, all over the world. It's international. Even when
yeah.
we're all, at our cribs right here. So that's it, y'all, for the
Man
podcast.
Flesh Boogie said, "Cheers, people! Great podcast. Keep making massive hazies, Chris." So the hazies ain't going nowhere.
Cheers, guys.
All
Great.
right.
Oh,
Will do.
he's not getting rid of him, mate. Don't worry. You couldn't tell him not to, even if you could. All right, podcast. Peace. Boom.
Bye.
All right, that's podcast. Now the live can keep going because I chopped that shit out. It's sick, bro. It's that was great. That was a solid one.
Yeah, good. How long was that?
That was
2
two,
hours
we're
and
2
20
hours and
minutes.
19 for the whole live, and the podcast was like 2 minutes on what we started in. That's pretty good.
Yeah, nice.
You know, you can have a chin wag, right?
Exactly right.
It goes hard. No, it's great. I wasn't sure how busy you were, so I tried to wrap it up early. Like I wanted to keep talking, but I didn't want to.
No, you're right.
I won't keep you
It
around.
was kind of perfect time, and the wife and kids went out to get some lunch, and I think they've just got back. So
Oh,
Well, there
good.
you go. Perfect timing, yeah.
the timing
Look-
is perfect.
Look at your winter out there, mate. Fuck you.
I know. Is that sun been bad for the video?
Not
I
even
know,
at
it's
all.
fine.
That looks good, man.
Yeah.
It looks great. No, it's fantastic. I appreciate your time. It was good hanging out, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really good to catch up, guys.
Yeah, dude. Keep in touch. I'm gonna keep watching what you're doing. As soon as I get hold of something that's worth sending you, I want to get it because this summer we were supposed to do. We go to Afropunk every summer, so we go up to New York. We were just in Vermont right before this, but we were still not sure what was happening. And then all of a sudden, it was kind of like full lockdown. So it was like, okay, well, everything kind of like wrapped up. So some bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's no rush, man. We got, as I said, we got plenty of beer down here, mate.
Yeah, so you don't know.
We'll,
Right?
we'll get some over to you again soon.
Yeah, man. No worries. Appreciate it. You're a ledge. Fuck yeah, bro. All right. Enjoy your lunch. You're a legend.
Yeah, it was good seeing you.
Yeah, man.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate
Have a good
you.
night.
All right,
You
thanks
too,
for
man.
watching, everyone.
Peace, guys. Take care.
Bye.
Peace.